Hey guys, this is Pro Sports Extra's live draft coverage. We're here today to cover the draft, the first round of the draft. We're gonna go through the first 32 picks, and we're gonna go until it ends. Follow the site at Pro Sports Extra on Twitter. I'm the NFL manager at Pro Sports Extra. You can follow me at Dylan Hargis9. I'll let everyone introduce themselves. First, we're gonna start with the guy that came up with this idea. I'm very thankful that he came up with this idea, and he's helped me. Well, I've helped him prep this thing. We're going to start with him. Let him introduce himself.
My name is Patrick Cleary. I'm a big Steelers fan. I thought about this about a month, 2 months ago, and wouldn't have got off the ground without Dylan's help. So I'd like to say thanks to him for it. We're really excited to do this. Been putting this together for a while, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
All right, guys. I'm just going to rotate through each card, and whenever that person's card's going to come up, they're going to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Jim Salter, and that's my Twitter handle, @MullySalt. You need to check out Pro Sports Extra for all your sports needs. It's a place to go on the internet. Much better than these larger sites, for sure. Go there, check it out. You'll like it. Trust me. I'm a diehard Chiefs fan here in Michigan.
All right, guys. We all should try to wear our apparel, so we'll let the next guy go.
My name is Justin Hodges. I currently live in Wilmington, North Carolina. Big ATL Falcons fan, rise up. You can follow me on Twitter at JJHodges83. I'm the newest person here at Pro Sports Extra, at least in this group, and I'm glad to be here, glad to be covering this, and should be fun.
Hi, I'm Banook from Australia, so it's got some international coverage here. Look forward to it. Hope you guys enjoy.
And last but not least.
I'm Dylan. I'm probably the youngest one here. I'm 14. Check out Pro Sports Extra for all sports news. It's going to be a fun night.
All right. And I will myself try to be updating a little bit on Twitter on what I think, other than what I say here, because obviously there's quite a few of us, so you can check out my Twitter, or I'm sure these guys are going to tweet a lot about it. Follow all of us. We try to tweet as much as we can, I'm sure, and talk about sports. Check out our articles and stuff like that. Until the actual draft starts, we're just going to kind of debate what we think is going to happen, and I'm going to try to facilitate that, but by no means am I going to take over. We are using ESPN, so we're going to try to avoid some of the stuff ESPN says. I'm not going to try to insult ESPN, obviously a great site. We are going to try to avoid some of the stuff that we feel doesn't need covering, but we are going to try to cover the stuff we need. So the first thing I want to talk about is, who do you think the Texans are going to draft?
Well, they took Mario Williams a few years ago. He didn't want to play in a 3-4 defense. You have to worry about Jadeveon Clowney letting that rookie contract run out and going somewhere else because he doesn't want to play in that defense. I think that's something the Texans have to think about at number one.
Just with that, though, I think you need to also be conscious of the fact that this defensive coordinator and these defensive schemes might not be there for 2 years, and you're drafting Jadeveon Clowney for a decade, hopefully.
That's a good point.
I also think the Texans trade down from this pick just because of the depthness of this draft. They could use the extra picks, and I know that tons of other teams are interested in currently moving up. I mean, just trading down makes sense.
Yeah.
I think they're hoping to trade down. I think Patrick said earlier in the week, if they find any fault, I think it was Patrick, any fault in Clowney, they will try to trade down. But I think if they decide to go with Mack instead of Clowney, then they have a great player that fits their system in place right now. But people do bring up a good point that if they do draft Clowney, will the system change or will Clowney want to leave?
Yeah, it can look a whole lot better on paper, but once you get it out there on the field, you'll find out.
Sure.
Well, apparently they reduced what their demands were for that pick 1, so they are looking to trade it.
Yeah.
I think the demand for that pick was down to just 4 picks, which would include next year's case. I think the limit was 2 first-round picks. That's just right there. But they brought that number down tremendously from what it was.
They just flashed across the screen that the Rams did contact Greg Robinson earlier today. That does not mean that they have said they're going to draft him, but it does mean that they have shown interest in him. So that could mean something. But I think the Rams are most likely to look to trade down, despite calling Robinson.
I know the Falcons were interested in talking with the Rams for that number 2 pick. I know the Falcons were one of the first teams that was interested in moving up. And the Falcons want to move up to get either Clowney or Mack to take care of that pass rush, which has been completely horrible the past few years. But it's either that or Falcons made a 6th pick, take one of those linemen, try to get Matt Ryan some protection, which he desperately needs.
That's a good point.
One option the Texans might consider is that who do they have at wide receiver besides Andre Johnson? Could Sammy Watkins be in play at number 1 to help the offense?
They did draft that wide receiver last year. His last name was Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, Andre Hopkins. He had like 700 yards or something last season. He was loving the receiver.
He did better than I was expecting.
Okay. When are the Texans going to take a quarterback? 2nd round?
2nd round, I think. I believe.
I think they need to wait till the 3rd round.
If they do trade for Ryan Mallett, that rumor's been flying around all day. If they trade for Ryan Mallett, they'll still take one, I think, because Ryan Mallett's obviously not a guarantee. But in that situation,
they don't need to give
I wouldn't be surprised to see a receiver go number 1.
They cannot give up too much for Ryan Mallett. He has no starting experience.
What about Kirk Cousins?
The one thing
backup in the league, but not a good starter.
The one thing to remember with Ryan Mallett is he has a familiarity with their new head coach, Bill O'Brien, who was his offensive coach in New England before he left for Penn State. Could be a factor in getting him there. If the price is right, I can see it happening. But they've got a lot of other quarterbacks, too, who have looked good in small spurts, but I don't think are the guys you want to hitch your trailer to. So the question is, do they trade up from their 2nd round pick, maybe? Someone in the 1st round to get back in there and take a quarterback that slid down, maybe Teddy Bridgewater or Bortles or Derek Carr.
The benefit of doing that is you've got the 5th-year option if you pick someone in the 1st round.
The problem with that is just there's so many good quarterbacks in this draft. I mean, if you even wait till the 2nd or 3rd round, there are going to be guys like Garoppolo, Mettenberger, Thomas Savage out of Pittsburgh. A ton of guys, even Aaron Murray, if you take a chance on him out of Georgia. I mean, there's just so many potential. I mean, you can wait a while and still get a quality quarterback.
All these quarterbacks like Johnny Manziel, Brooks, Teddy Bridgewater, Oladipo, Aaron Murray, even A.J. McCarron, all these guys are getting attention, but I haven't heard Taj Boyd get next to any attention, and I think he's a very reliable quarterback. I think when you have Taj Boyd, you know what you get. But he's like a 3rd round guy that the Texans could draft and maybe sit him behind a veteran for a couple years if they do decide to go the Ryan Mallett way, and then start Boyd in a couple years and have a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a Taj Boyd or a Logan Thomas even jump up in front of a couple of these other big names, maybe even in the 2nd round.
Logan Thomas.
There's also a couple of other smaller names we haven't even heard of. You know, we got Stephen Morris out of Miami, one of the strongest arms in this draft. Logan Thomas, Patrick said. I think he ran the fastest 40 of it today, or maybe it was Morris. And I mean, even those guys.
Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas was pretty good at Virginia Tech 2 years ago, and he just kind of fell off the NFL draft radar this year. I thought he was pretty good. I mean, I followed the ACC.
He's good.
Speaking of Logan Thomas, his measurables compare favorably with someone you're a big fan of, Eric Ebron. If a team drafted him with thoughts of turning him into a tight end, he might have a larger impact in the NFL as a tight end than he would as a quarterback.
That's true. Does he want to play tight end, though? Because most of the time when those players get the taste at quarterback, they don't want to switch positions because they like the limelight.
Well, exactly. That's the big question. We'll see. Obviously, Tim Tebow didn't want to do it.
Well, I think Tebow's a good quarterback.
That was too early for a Tebow reference. I'm sorry.
Far too
I couldn't
early.
resist. I loved to watch Tebow in college. He's one of my all-time favorite college players. He
I
embodied
loved watching him
passion
beat the
and spirit.
Steelers. I loved watching him beat the Steelers in overtime. I love that pass right to
I
Demarius
don't
Thomas
want to hear about
touchdown.
Yeah.
Patrick didn't like that one.
No, not very much. I don't blame him.
Oh, I'm sure I'm gonna hear it before the end of the day. I'm a Cowboys fan, so kind of right itself.
Oh, the Texans, do they already know their pick, or are they going to wait till the 10 minutes runs out? What's going to happen?
Earlier,
They're gonna try to trade.
I think earlier Bill Polian was talking about the possibility the Texans trading down. He had a good point. He said they're not going to get their best offers on the table for that pick until that 10 minutes goes up on the board, and I think he had a good point with that.
That's very true. Well, looks like we're under 30 seconds, guys.
Because I think it's on the 15th.
Here comes the boss man.
Let's see if he gets booed again.
Oh, he will.
We are all unbiased here, so we are not going to voice our opinions about Roger Goodell. He is the commissioner of the NFL, so we are all professional here. And it went to a commercial, of course it did. Anticlimactic.
Did we lose James?
What about trade down possibilities? You could make a case for maybe 15 or even 20 teams wanting to trade back with the NFL draft. I think we could see a record number of trades in the first round.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. There's a huge potential for trades in this draft. I mean, if you check out our mock draft, Pro Sports Extra, it's in the NFL section. We did it with a bunch of other writers. I want to advertise that real quick. There was we went a little crazy with the trades, but there are quite a few trades in there. And it's very possible that we see more trades this draft than we've ever seen before in the NFL. You make a very good point with that.
That was one of the funnest mock drafts I've ever had the privilege to be a part of. Everyone was really channeling their inner GM that night.
That was a lot of fun.
Fast and furious.
How's Richard Sherman's contract that he just signed? Unbelievable.
$40 million guaranteed is a lot of money. I think within 2 to 3 years, you're going to see him either restructuring or taking a pay cut,
Yeah, definitely. You have to.
especially with contracts like Russell Wilson coming up.
I
Yeah,
read
it's unsustainable.
something on Twitter this afternoon regarding his contract that even with it next year, the Seahawks are still $10.5 million under the cap. So they still have some flexibility, but that's going to disappear when they sign Russell.
Yeah.
Wait, I see Russell as that kind of guy, though, that's like a team player, and he's willing to take not a massive pay cut, but a minor pay cut for his team. Now, I don't know how much longer that trend's going to continue, but as of right now, I see that in Russell.
Yeah, he's definitely
It's
home.
hard, though. It's his first big contract because you got to keep in mind he was a third-round pick. So he's going to want to maximize that value.
That's true. I think, quick side note, guys, I think when we do get to the picks, I'll announce the pick and then we can discuss it. Just a quick side note.
Excellent.
That'll make it smoother.
Yeah, easy.
Here we go.
Evian, he's ready.
All right.
Uh-oh, there he is.
So in Romeo Crennel's 3-4 defense, how does Clowney slot in? Is he going to be an outside linebacker, or will he be a defensive end?
I don't think he's
He
athletic
can't
enough.
play a linebacker.
Defensive end. He has to be a defensive end, yeah.
And I think he's gonna be an
I mean, Houston's game managers were saying that whether they paid Clowney or Mack, that they were going to play outside linebacker. and that was one of the main reasons.
Clowney can't play.
Yeah, he can't play. Well, not as a main role.
It'll be Mario Williams.
He can't. He's going to get embarrassed. He's going to get embarrassed at outside linebacker. Any possession. It would shock the heck out of me if he even plays decent at the outside linebacker position.
Yeah, his 40 times are impressive, and he's fast when you're talking about a 300-pound offensive tackle, but he's not fast when you're talking about a wide receiver.
Yeah.
If he does play outside linebacker, likely right off the bat as a rookie, you'll only see him in there on passing downs as a rookie linebacker.
That is not what you do with the first overall pick, though.
No way.
You want a guy that can be out there every snap.
You got to get a difference maker.
It's time.
There it is.
He's getting cheers this year.
Nah, boos are coming.
Nah, he's getting the boost.
Yeah, he's getting the Bronx cheer. If
Yeah.
he's getting any
I
cheer.
hear it now.
I think it was as loud I was expecting it to be.
No, it's really not. It's not nowhere near as bad as the lockout year, which that's to be expected.
As you all know, these next few days are important to our team, our players, our coaches, and particularly you, the fans. So let's get it started.
Open.
The 2014 NFL Draft is officially open.
Here we go.
Texans on the clock.
Let's do it.
Are now on the clock.
Let's see if the trade happens.
Oh, Houston has 11 picks, so they may not trade down. I don't know.
That's a good point.
They may want to get that difference maker.
Let's see.
It is kind of
Yeah.
sad that they won the first 2 games and lost 14 straight.
There comes Carr.
David Carr.
He was like the number one reason Derek Carr is getting so much hype.
First overall picks haven't worked very well for them. The 2 they've had haven't worked too well.
Well, they didn't do anything to help Derek Carr.
Yeah, they were on their own.
So I think one of the guys' TVs here is like 5 seconds slower than mine. So if you don't see me commentating before, the one we can hear goes off on the people. Sorry. Because I can hear the echoing in this.
That's the same, yeah.
Houston needs to get the quarterback they want before they go home tonight. Might not be with this pick, but before the end of this night, they better get their quarterback. Ray, help me out. You know the one.
They definitely do need a quarterback.
Yeah, they got a good point. If you want one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks, you want somebody that's going to come in and have a chance of starting right away, they're going to have to get him tonight, because if they don't, I have a feeling somebody will.
I don't think they necessarily have to get their starter in this draft.
I don't know
But
if
if
one of
they
these
want-
guys can be a starter. Straight away.
You got a point. You have a point. He thinks Khalil Mack. No, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. That's bad. We're trying to be professional. We're live. Never mind. I'll ask you later. And we're not live. Never mind. Sorry.
I just don't think that if you're going to put Jadeveon Clowney at outside linebacker, you can draft him. You need to draft a linebacker in Khalil Mack if you're going to make him play linebacker.
Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Khalil
I agree with
Mack
that.
should be your pick if you want to go first. If you want a linebacker, should be Mack.
Yeah, if you want a linebacker, you should take Mack. But, I think they're just praying for a trade right now. I don't know who's going to trade up. Like, Atlanta don't have enough picks, or they're not going to give
Yeah,
them
they
what they want.
announced that it's a not good chance for trading up. So count the Falcons out. Really, the only thing else you can think of is I don't know, maybe the Jags, maybe the Bills or Lions or someone who's desperate.
Cleveland, are they going to trade up? They don't need to trade up.
If Jadeveon Clowney doesn't go number 1, I don't think there's any way St. Louis is staying at 2. Somebody will come up and get him.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
John Gruden needs to be a coach again. I don't know why he's an analyst. He's too smart a mind to be an analyst.
He's won the Super Bowls. He doesn't want to go back.
No,
doesn't have
it's
to.
sad. It's a tragedy.
I wish he'd come to Dallas. That'd make my dreams come true. And, I didn't mention it at the beginning, but I am a Dallas fan. Who cares?
Do you draft for need? Like, the thing is, do you draft for need or you just take the best player available? I remember 2 years ago, Carolina did not need a linebacker. They took Luke Kuechly, and he's revolutionized that defense.
I mean, they could have used a linebacker then. It wasn't their top need, but it was a need. I think you trade down if you don't have your need there. You don't just take the most talented player. But if you have a need there, you take it. That would be my philosophy going into a draft as a GM.
They're almost halfway through here, so something's going to have to happen.
I think the price is too steep to see a trade here with the depth, the quality of depth in this draft. I just don't see a team making the sacrifice of draft picks to move up to number 1.
Yeah, I mean, we've known the Redskins to make mistakes like that, so we could see that happen. Sorry, that was a little bit biased. I didn't mean that. I don't know what you're talking about.
They can't sacrifice more draft picks, surely.
I mean, never mind.
I'm really glad they don't skip the picks anymore.
Got 4.5 left. It's going to take. It's going to come in like the last 10 seconds, probably.
But Bill Parcells, who worked with Romeo Crennel for 17 years, said, do not underestimate Romeo with Clowney because they experienced it in 1994 with the New England Patriots and they drafted Willie McGinnis, defensive end, out of USC.
All it's going to take is one team to move up there and make a trade, and I think it's going to kick over the dominoes. Whether there's a run on quarterbacks or another top player falls, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack is my favorite player in this draft. And if I were the Houstons, I would take him. I think every team that passes on him will regret doing so.
Sorry, was that
I can
Khalil Mack or
definitely see
Clinton?
that.
Yeah. Khalil Mack is my favorite player in this draft.
Okay.
Clowney's awesome, but I think Mack is a better all-around player and will have a more productive NFL career.
I don't agree. He can rush the passer and he can be the linebacker that the Texans want. I just don't see how they can draft Clowney and put him at linebacker.
It's one of those cases where Clowney's just too tall to play linebacker. I mean, your ideal inside-outside linebacker, isn't that 6'7", 6'8" frame that Clowney is.
And that's a very good point. The Steelers had Lamar Woodley at outside linebacker for a couple of years, and he did very well his first couple of seasons.
Jarvis
The reality of it was,
gets to have a big season. I saw Jarvis Jones play in Georgia, and I saw the Steelers draft him. I thought he had a okay preseason, but with the loss of Woodley,
Excited about Khalil Mack.
Jarvis needs to have a good year.
John Gruden really suggesting John Manziel to Houston?
Of course he is. Johnny Manziel's been the talk of this draft, even though he doesn't deserve to be. But, of course, Johnny Manziel is going to be the talk of this draft until he's picked. Unfortunately, we have to hear his name until he's picked.
It's with all due respect, yeah, they need a quarterback, and he would sell a lot of tickets. But I don't know if they have the guts to take him number 1 overall.
Yeah, I see Manziel going to Houston just if Houston wants that excitement, that fan base going in, all the talking around them. But it's more like,
And if they want to lose.
How long is Johnny Manziel going to have an NFL career for? Like, he's not. I don't think he's going to stand up to it. His body's not going to stand up to it.
That's a good question.
It's not. It's not. I'm gonna be honest. He's not fast enough to do what he does at the pro level, and he's not the best decision maker in the world, on or off the field. Bad combination in the NFL.
All he has is that crazy
As
ability.
much as I love Tim Tebow, you can't play backyard football and get away with it. Tim Tebow proved
Pick
that.
is in.
Pick is in.
Here we go.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's in. I'm late. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, TV's a bit late.
Clowney. Gotta be Clowney.
Got to be Clowney, eh?
We'll see.
Probably.
If you want a defensive end, it's Clowney. If you want a defensive end and an outside linebacker, you have to pick Khalil Mack.
I agree. Mack is the man, but
All right.
they won't make that pick.
All right, guys. Just remember, I'll make the announcement. I'll say with the whatever overall pick, and then free reign. Just don't try not to interrupt each other too much. We'll just try to all get our talk in because we're gonna have plenty to talk about because I'm sure the Rams are gonna try to trade, so they're probably gonna go down to at least the 1 minute mark, if not farther down into it. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. So no rush to try to get your comments out. I'm sure we all want to talk about it. So I'll start it off or whatever. I might give a comment, I might not, and then we'll have free reign.
Roger Goodell loves the theater, doesn't he? Still not coming out.
It happens every year. They take forever. It builds dramatic suspense.
They got to print up the jersey, too.
Well, this is unfair because the Rams don't know. They're on the clock. They don't know who the pick is.
But they do have 10 minutes. They do.
Only 8.5.
And they're not allowed to make their pick until they might already know though. I don't know exactly how it works. They may already know.
Goodell is on the floor.
Here we go. I'll announce it in a second, guys.
The first pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Xavier Clowney.
With the first overall pick, the Houston Texans select Clowney. They picked Clowney out of South Carolina. I'm sorry.
It should be
I'll
interesting.
do better next time.
He's crying.
It is.
That's good. Fair enough.
Well, one thing is
You
for
can tell
sure,
he's happy to be in the NFL.
quarterbacks in the NFC or the AFC South will have to beware with J.J. Watt, Davion Clowney chasing them all over the field.
That would be killer.
I'm just really happy that he's staying out of Cam Newton's division.
Yes.
you
It's very touching rhyme. Thank God.
still may have to deal with Khalil Mack though. You don't know yet.
That's true.
How much of a relief it is for these guys. They've been going through this process for months, and they finally get to hear their name called.
It's a very emotional moment. I'm happy for Clowney. He deserves this.
Clowney is a unique athlete. You have to make the case that if he would have been able to come out last year, he would have been the #1 pick in last year's draft.
And that's impressive to be able to stay atop the class 2 years in a row. We've seen so many guys go back to school and fall 2 or 3 rounds.
Probably one of those guys that saw him play in high school. I saw him when he was the #1 overall recruit in high school. And it's just one of those guys you knew was going to be a monster and knew was going to be incredible. And it's nice to see him make it. I mean, he's going to do great things, I can tell.
I think Romeo Crennel's just going to have to tweak his scheme to make him fit. I think Clowney's that good a player.
Well, Dennis is on the clock.
So I think the real question is, will he accept his role no matter where Crennel puts him, or will he do like Mario Williams and split after his rookie deal?
If he tries to put him an outside linebacker, it's just not going to work. I mean, there's no way that can work. Like, even if it's like, I'll put you in outside linebacker, maybe 30% of our plays, it's still just not going to be effective. I don't think he's going to like it as much.
Yeah, that's the big question with Clowney is where is he going to be? Is he going to be the 5 technique, the defensive end in a 3-man front, or is he going to be the outside linebacker in a 34 defense? He's used to playing in a 4-man front most of the time at South Carolina, so there's a transition that's going to have to be made. But his physical ability is undeniable, and I think he'll be able to be just fine whether it's outside at a linebacker or whether he has to put his hand on the ground.
He's gonna have to build on some muscle and slim up some at the same time if he wants to play outside, because he's covering wide receivers instead of smashing into linemen.
Yeah, and the Texans aren't stupid. They know if you're drafting Jadeveon Clowney, you're drafting him to get after the quarterback, and they're going to find a way for him to get after it.
I think we also need to discuss the tantalising prospect of J.J. Watt and Jadeveon together. That's just it's going to be the most exciting defense to watch.
Yeah, that's scary thought, actually.
Right? Andrew Luck.
Jake Locker and Andrew Luck are probably scared.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine the prospect of two 20-sack guys on the same defensive line.
It's like Justin Smith and Alden Smith are supposed to work. It's like what they're supposed to do. If it works out, it's scary.
Houston probably should be scared.
And the Rams are taking their time as we expected. I think this pick's either going to be Greg Robinson, maybe Sammy Watkins, or a trade down. I don't think, other than those three, I don't see anything else happening. What do you about you guys?
I think they've got to take Sammy Watkins. They've got to give Bradford some weapons. And you could probably, if you're looking for it, Greg Robinson's going to be a great offensive tackle, but you can look for an offensive tackle at 13 as well. Like the drop-off between Greg Robinson and, say, a Taylor Lewan, who might be there, is not as big as a drop-off between Sammy Watkins and Brandon Cooks or Beckham Jr.
The problem with Greg Robinson is he's playing at Auburn for a team that ran the ball. I mean, they're almost every single play. He's having to be pass coverage and a league that's predominantly passing. So I'm going to take some time to be able to, solidify his pass protection and be able to take on those huge defensive linemen, while he's trying to face the quarterback. But I mean, he's still going to be solid. It's going to take a little bit of time.
As much as I like Khalil Mack, the St. Louis Rams would be very foolish to pass on a player like Sammy Watkins right here. He could change their offense. I think they need to make him the pick, but will they?
The only other option is to trade down.
I think of Sammy Watkins and Tavon Austin on that offense. It's scary speed.
Especially with Zach Stacy. He's been a steal. The 5th round last year.
He was incredible last season for them.
Yeah.
He saved them after Bradford went out for the year. If they wouldn't have had Zach Stacy to lean on, they would have been absolutely abysmal.
Yeah, I think we'd be talking about St. Louis as the number 1 pick in that situation.
And let's bring this up. This second overall pick is not theirs. It is the Redskins from the RG3 deal.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That went back to bite the Redskins in the butt. Sorry.
And going
These are
back
going to happen all day. These are going to happen all day. So Redskins fans, I am truly sorry. It is not that I hate you guys. It's just I hate your franchise for good reason.
Well,
and I'm sure you hate mine.
Year, you would have to say, oh, that was a great pick for the Redskins or a great trade. They won the division, made the playoffs. After the second year, you'd have to say it's a terrible trade. Let's wait a couple more years and see. Eli Manning was the best trade in the world, but he ended up winning 2 Super Bowls, and now, hey,
When they drafted RG3, I said he's going to be a rookie sensation. But then, for the rest of his career, people are going to be questioning, well, what happened from his rookie career? I said it at the beginning when he got drafted, and thus far I've been proved right, and I think I'm going to continue to be proved right. It's not any personal bias against RG3. I love RG3. It's not any personal bias against the Redskins, although I do not like them. That's just what I saw in RG3. I don't think he has what it takes right now to be a leader. And as of right now, I think he's going to be questioned on whether he'll ever get back to what his freshman year was.
Well, the other thing about RG3 is that obviously the leadership thing's in question, but also, again, is his body going to stand up? Like, he's very skinny. Like, he's not like a Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger. Those guys can handle the run, handle the hit. RG3 can't. And he doesn't have the straight line speed of a Michael Vick. And then we've seen what happened to Michael Vick as well throughout his career. Like, he's been exciting, but has he ever played more than 12 games in a season?
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
It looks like the Rams have come to a decision.
They're going to pick here.
Their pick is in.
I need black pants.
And if you guys want to remind me whenever your favorite team pops up, if you want to announce their pick, that's very fair. So I will let you do that. Just remind me when their pick is coming up, and you can pick it. You can announce it yourself.
Does everyone say?
So we got we have the Steelers, Falcons, Chiefs, Panthers, and Dylan. What's your favorite team?
Bears.
Bears.
Yeah.
So we'll let you do that at the Bears. And I'll try to remember those, and we'll let you announce their pick when they pick it, and we'll have a nice time. And hopefully we have people watching. And I would like to mention a few things for our CEO, Trevor. If you do want a shirt, see, I've got one now, Pro Sports Extra. They are for sale, so make sure you check out the site or contact the Facebook page, and we can get you to that. There's other things, other advertisements we have. We sell things for the site. Remember, it takes some money to run that, and we enjoy what we do. And if you ever have any questions for us or want us to do an article idea, contact any of us through Twitter, Facebook, anyway, and we will try to do a good idea and do our best ability to answer any questions you want or anything. We are here to please our fans. All right.
Are we still looking for writers for like the basketball section? I know we started.
Oh yeah, that's a really good idea to do that. For all you watching, we are looking for writers everywhere in any section, but especially the NBA section. We do need some help there. If you'd like to apply, please contact me or Patrick Green, the other manager of the site. My Twitter's at DylanHargis9. His is, I believe, at Patrick Green or Patrick MLB, something like that. Anyway, contact me or Patrick Green, or the site Facebook page, and you can get to it. And I'm about to announce the Rams pick. With the second overall pick of the 2014 draft, the St. Louis Rams select Greg Robinson, offensive tackle, Auburn. And I think I called this. It's a great pickup for them. They need help. I don't think it's the best pick for them, but I'm not the GM, so.
Can't fault them for it. I mean, we were discussing before that they obviously need the receiver more, but that's our opinion. And if Les Need thinks that that's their pick, that's their pick. He's going to keep Sam Bradford upright, which Sam hasn't been able to do throughout his career. So, not a bad pick. You can't criticize it.
Yeah, Sam got to protect that ACL.
Another big season.
The only problem with Robinson, he gets penalised like a lot at college. So
they'll work that. The pros will work with him in the training camp, and hopefully they'll work that out. That's something that you kind of have to learn as you go in the NFL sometimes. But with the offensive line coaches, that's their job to kind of, hey, you can't do this. This is how we do things in the NFL. And you learn the snap count, learn the system. So I think he'll improve on that.
They also have the benefit, if they want, if Jake Long is healthy coming back from his ACL injury, and he can play left tackle to start out, and they can put Robinson on the right. Or if Robinson impresses, they might have a very overpaid right tackle in Jake Long.
I think Robinson's a player, right?
Do you reckon now that Jacksonville will take Sammy Watkins because Blackman might not play next year, and then the draft actually starts with Cleveland's pick 4?
The question is,
I think they're gonna draft Mack. I think Jaguars go Mack. I don't think they go Watkins. They have. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, if Jacksonville does draft Sammy Watkins, I mean, what's the difference between when they drafted Justin Blackman? I mean, Justin Blackman was a 2-time Billy Cup winner. They're supposed to be a superstar, and look at them now. I mean, of course they don't have a good quarterback. Of course, having the ball, but I mean, I won't say a bust because he has so much talent, but it's not what we're expecting from it. And that's maybe a different player right now. I mean, I think the need of a quarterback is more important. I know they have Chad Henne, but my opinion.
Jacksonville's over halfway through their time to decide. So obviously they're probably looking for a trade as well. If they do decide to trade down, who's the most likely spot? Because I didn't really expect Jacksonville to trade down, but if they do decide to trade down, I'm a little curious about who's trying to trade up to the spot to get maybe a Watkins or a Mack.
Atlanta, I think.
Yeah, Atlanta was looking. It was either a St. Louis pick, the Jacksonville pick, or the Cleveland 4th pick. and it's kind of a desperate attempt to pick Khalil Mack to this point. So if the Falcons can get this, no, it's back.
Could Jacksonville trade down with Atlanta and then still be able to, say, pick up Johnny Manziel at number 6? Is that a possibility? Or will
There's
Manziel...
a pretty big difference. I mean, those quarterbacks still going to, if they wanted to pick, someone like Mike
I
Evans.
still don't think there's a
I mean, he's
quarterback.
The pick is in.
I still don't think there's a quarterback in this draft worth the top 10. Is it?
They didn't waste
Oh, it
too much
is.
time.
This is going to be interesting.
Nope.
This is really going to be interesting.
Jacksonville's pick is in.
Watkins or Mack?
Yep. Or Manziel, or this is going to be an interesting pick because I mean they really can't. Manziel would be about the only quarterback would be the only mistake here in my opinion. Any other player in the top 5, Jacksonville probably needs the help there.
There's only one Khalil Mack left in this draft, so if they want the difference on defense, they need to take Mack.
Yeah. Was that last stat about a player or a team? Because it said 33rd in the NFL. I hope it was about a player, not a team. Because there's only 32.
I think if you're Jacksonville, you got to wait till at least the 3rd round to take a quarterback. I think Jacksonville's too far off to spend a pick this high on a quarterback when they can spend it on somebody that's going to help them build a team to bring a quarterback into. They're not going to be competing for a playoff spot this season. They're definitely not going to be competing for a Super Bowl. You got to think about the future if you're in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, come on, Roger Goodell. Kind of waiting. I mean, how many Jaguars fans is he really keeping in suspense? To be honest.
Only team to draft in the top 10 every year from 2008. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, ever since David Garrard left and had problems with the team, Jacksonville's just not. They haven't anything at all.
Think about that stat they just showed for a minute. Only team to draft in the top 10 since from 2008. What do they have to show for it? That's a lot
Justin
of
Blackman?
wasted.
Luke Jokel?
You can say the same thing about the Raiders. What do the Raiders have? I mean, they've picked in the top 10 consecutively for a few years, and again, Janikowski is probably the best draft pick they've had in the past 14 years.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. I will announce it in a moment. Whoa!
Holy. That is insane.
Oh my god.
With the 3rd overall pick, the Jaguars select Blake Bortles,
Oh
quarterback, UCF.
How is he?
I am done.
They've just thrown away their future.
I thought Beauty was kidding.
I
I was trying to throw a card.
Wow.
Oh, the face, Johnny's face makes up for it. I'm sorry, Johnny's face makes up for it. I'm excited now. I'm happy.
What are they
Johnny's face
doing?
made
They're
up for it
drafting
right
bad quarterback after bad quarterback. They should have learned from Gabbard. This is terrible.
Good fit there. I'm sorry, but it's not.
there. All right. Blake is not a bad quarterback. He will improve the franchise, but it's nonetheless it is the wrong pick. But he will improve the franchise.
Not
It can't get worse.
They're good. They just have to go with the right team.
You cannot pass on Khalil Mack and Sammy Watkins to draft Blake Bortles right there. You need a quarterback, so get a quarterback, but you cannot pass on the difference makers that Sammy Watkins and Khalil Mack are. You just can't do it.
I agree with you, but they can't get worse. Their franchise, it is physically impossible for their franchise to get worse. I disagree with the pick, but I mean,
They can't. His decision making is not good enough yet, and he throws into coverage way too often for it to be a number 3 pick that's going to start in the NFL next year.
Jacksonville's is not a good
I'm
fit.
stunned.
I feel sorry for their
I
7
did not-
fans.
Well, you know the Browns have to be excited.
I'll tell you what, they might have just done a favor for Cleveland and Oakland because you know they're going to be fielding a lot of phone calls now.
Oh, yeah.
Jack.
You know the Browns might make it even easier for Oakland because the Browns might draft Johnny. I mean, why not? Let's go ahead and make it 2 straight dumb
Let's
decisions
start running on
in a row. Let's go
quarterback.
and do it.
Interesting.
If any team were going to make a dumb decision right here to follow that one up, it would be the Browns.
Exactly. That's why Oakland is sitting there at 5 saying, we're going to get either Sammy Watkins or Khalil Mack.
There's a reason why certain franchises dwell in mediocrity because of this crap.
You're exactly right.
Well, the Jaguars owner, all he knows about is soccer anyway. I mean, he should have stuck with soccer. He really should have stuck with soccer. I'm sorry.
The Browns think they're getting Manziel.
Scoring 3 points in.
I think that's the pick for the Browns. I think this is where Johnny Football goes. If he doesn't, that would be a very un-Browns thing of them to do, to not draft.
Yeah,
Johnny.
make bad decisions.
They traded it to the Bills.
Make bad decisions.
Oh, we've got a trade.
Bills.
Oh, the Bills. They're getting Watkins or Mac. It's Watkins. It has to be Watkins.
That's what I told you. Jacksonville just made Cleveland very happy.
The Cleveland Browns have traded the 4th overall pick to the Buffalo Bills, and that has not been. It's been confirmed, but the picks that they have traded for have not been confirmed yet. As soon as we get that, one of us will announce it. But as of right now, the Buffalo Bills are on the clock after a trade, and they are at the 4th overall pick.
Now the question becomes Khalil Mack or Sammy Watkins.
Who do you think?
Yeah, it has to be Sammy. It has to be Sammy.
I don't know.
They have a good defense.
Based on their defensive production versus their offensive production, if you have the chance to get a playmaker on either side of the ball here, I think you got to go with Sammy.
I think they were talking about that. They need to get E.J. Manuel some help. Like, who's catching his balls at the moment?
Stevie Johnson.
Stevie Johnson. Scott Chandler. No, not Scott Chandler's gone, hasn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. I hope they don't select Ebron. Like, I love Ebron because he's from my home state, North Carolina. Go Tar Heels. But Ebron's not a. I hope they don't make that decision.
I'm telling you what, as a Steelers fan, I'm happy with every single team that's Mike Evans.
Nope, pick is in.
I think Sammy Watkins.
The pick is in.
To give E.J. Manuel a weapon that he
The
badly
Buffalo Bills pick is in. I'm sorry to cut anyone off, but the Buffalo Bills pick is in. We will get that to you as soon as possible. Is it Jordan Matthews? They need an offensive tackle. Could it be Jordan Matthews?
Jake Matthews.
He might be the safest.
Or you would trade up to Jordan Matthews.
Well, but with Jake Matthews, they were confused whether Taylor Lewan out of Michigan was going to go for Jake Matthews.
They gave up their first round. Yeah.
Wow, that's
wow.
Pick and
The
a
Bills
first round
get
and 4th round next year.
My bad. Go ahead. That's a bad trade. The Browns steal that one. That is a
Are
terrible
the
trade.
Browns finally getting some competency in that front office?
If in case you didn't hear, the Bills got the 4th overall pick. The Browns got the 9th overall pick this year, a 1st rounder next year, and a 4th rounder next year. So the Browns are obviously
Not going over there.
stole those picks.
Here we go.
Alright, here he is.
Unless it's Sammy Watkins, and I will announce it in a moment because Roger Goodell is walking up to the stand.
Yep.
And with the 4th overall pick, the Buffalo Bills do indeed select Sammy Watkins, wide receiver, Clemson. And this is a great pick, and the Bills are going to have a more explosive offense now.
He'll have a
That's the
good
best.
Stevie Johnston to learn from. No, Stevie Johnston's probably a good receiver. Not great, but good. I mean, it's a good comment. E.J. Manuel will grow into a good quarterback if he can stay healthy. And with that good defense, I mean, Buffalo's been absurd. They could be a threat in the past few years. They just have to take that next step. But I mean,
the Bills had to be thinking. The Bills had to be thinking as soon as Jacksonville made what I think is going to end up being a mistake. They think, oh well, guess what? We're going to take the pick you should have taken.
Yeah. This guy, even though he needs to improve his route running, which I'm sure will happen in the NFL, he just has an incredible ability to come down with the ball. Like he can, you throw the ball up, even though he's not the tallest. Sammy Watkins has it out of nowhere.
Yeah, so it's great.
And now the Browns are going to still going to have a top 10 pick. They're going to get a first round. They're going to have at least 2 first rounders next year, and and another fourth rounder next year. So I think both teams get an advantage here, but that might have been a little too much to give up. As explosive as Sammy is, I'm not sure yet. We'll see how it plays out
I think
next
Sammy
year.
Watkins has a much better chance of succeeding in the NFL. We're playing at Buffalo rather than Jacksonville. Just because of the way that offense is set up. My opinion, but
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why I like that Buffalo trade, and it's because they didn't give up any picks this year besides their first rounder, so they still have the rest of their picks in this draft.
sure.
No, the fifth rounder was next year too, or the fourth rounder. It was their one first round pick and their two.
Yeah, that's an
That's what
excellent
you
point
said.
that Patrick made. They're only out the 9th pick in this draft. They retain the rest of their picks in this deep draft. Also, for Buffalo, you have to look at the pick like this as a Julio Jones type pick. They need a player like this in that offense. They realized it. They went and got him, and now this offense is just taking a big step forward. As far as the draft goes, you really have to give kudos to Browns general manager Ray Farmer. He's now turned that 3rd or 4th pick in this draft into another first rounder next year and the 9th pick. You throw in a 4th round pick. He has 2 first rounders now, 2 years in a row, and that's how you rebuild a franchise. The Browns still have enough ammunition to move up or down to get a quarterback in this draft that they like.
But I think, as good as that deal is for the Browns, if they take Manziel with 9, they've just undone all their good work.
Well, you call that pick a Julio Jones pick. The difference was that Atlanta, I think, gave up 6 or 7 picks, and they gave 3 for that draft and 3 the next year to get Julio Jones. But Buffalo got a steal. I mean, only giving up 2 years for next year to get a player of that caliber is a complete steal. And whether for them, I mean, Cleveland, still for next year, I mean, still going to get a player they want with that next pick. Works out for both teams, but I mean, interesting. Do the Raiders take Mac here?
They have to, surely.
You can't pick anybody over, and the only way I see they don't is if they want Mike Evans, but I still can't see that.
With the Raiders,
I am sorry, guys.
but Max seems like the obvious pick.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I do keep leaving, guys. I am having to ice down a calf. I pulled a muscle 2 days ago. So
Hey.
if you see me leaving somewhat, it will be that. So do not blame me for that. Patrick, if a pick does come down while I'm gone, you can announce it unless it's someone's favorite team or something.
Sounds good.
Since Patrick's idea. The Raiders pick is in.
Wow.
They did not take very much time.
No, they took till about 4.5.
I really hope this isn't Khalil Mack because I don't want to have to face him twice a year.
I think it's Khalil Mack. I don't see any other way it's not Khalil Mack.
Has to be Khalil Mack.
Johnny Manziel. I hope not.
Oh, I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be thrilled if it's Johnny Manziel. I take that back. I'm gonna be upset for Raiders fans, but I mean I'm gonna be excited because just so you guys know, everyone that's watching, I am a Cowboys fan, and I want to address this right now. If Johnny Manziel comes to Dallas, I may not watch football next year. That's my opinion on the Johnny Manziel to Dallas.
EJ Manuel just tweeted nothing but a bunch of exclamation marks.
Oh, he's excited, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has to be thrilled. He has to be thrilled.
Sammy Watkins and Stevie Johnson give E.J. Manuel a nice pair of wide receivers to go down the field with, make big plays, and when you combine C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson, that's a pretty potent offense.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here it is.
All right, I will announce it as soon as it comes up.
The 2014 NFL Draft. The Oakland Raiders select Khalil Mack.
With the 5th overall pick, the Oakland Raiders have selected Khalil Mack, outside linebacker, Buffalo.
Well done by the Raiders.
He gets to play with Lamar Woodley, who is picked up from Pittsburgh, who is a solid outside linebacker, will help him evolve. He's a good guy to learn from, definitely. Unfortunately, he has to go to a team like Oakland, but So that was kind of sorry.
See, teams like Oakland and Cleveland now, it seems like there's at least a glimmer of hope that they'll get something turned around here. This draft looks like a really good step in that direction.
I wonder if he's still going to
I'm,
wear 40 because
I've
he's
got
not
my
going to be
books.
ranked.
I've got my suspicions. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I wonder if he's still going to wear 46 in the NFL because he's not going to be ranked as a 46 overall player in Madden. That's why he wears 46 in college, for everyone that doesn't know. He picked up NCAA football in his freshman year, and he was only ranked a 46, and that's what drove him.
Wow.
Can I start making some commentary for my team real quick? Well, the Atlanta Falcons are on the clock with that 6th pick, and they're just trying to can't tell my jersey. I'm a huge Falcons fan. The number one needs going at the Falcons coming in were defensive front, either outside linebacker or defensive end, which they were trying to trade to get Mack or Clowney, which neither of those worked. And so, number one pick right now is for an offensive tackle, and you have two solid guys in Jake Matthews out of Texas A&M and Timmy Lamont out of the University of Michigan. And there's been a lot of confusion about which one they would take.
Is there any chance that you guys look at Aaron Donald from Pitt?
Not this soon. I like Aaron Donald, but not this soon. He'll go. I think he could go in the top 10, but just not this soon. And of course, we will let Justin make the pick for the Falcons. We'll let him talk about it first, and then we'll chip in wherever we see him accordingly.
To me, this is a no-brainer. If you're the Falcons, they need to take Matthews, the tackle from Texas A&M. He is a plug-and-play player for their offensive line. They've invested the money in the wide receivers and the quarterback. They need to protect him and make his passing game work. They also need a left tackle that can anchor the run game and keep the running game going again.
Running game last season, it was actually dead last. They had Carson Jackson, those just coming in. You have the offensive line being terrible. Matt Ryan, he got 2-3 seconds every time he got to throw the ball.
And
one of the reasons they were so bad is
I would
they got a chance to throw the ball downfield. But
my personal reason. Oh, go ahead. My bad. I'm sorry.
you can go. Sorry.
My personal reason for wanting Jordan Matthews to go first would be because not only would Johnny Manziel wouldn't be the first quarterback to go, he wouldn't even be the first player from his own team to go. So that would just make me excited. I'm sorry. I'm showing a lot of bias. I should be lead by
Shouldn't
example.
even be the second player to go on from his team.
But
Mike Evans is much
you can
better.
get a guy being solid down the road for Atlanta. So we saw Atlanta had a chance to win 13-3 and was first in the NFC. Just because the defense goes Matt Ryan had plenty of time to throw. They had guys like Tyson Clabo and Tom McClure who protect Matt Ryan. That's not what he had this year. And so the cost for Atlanta is to get back to that solid state where they were dominating the NFC. And Jake Matthews or Taylor Line, whichever one they pick, will definitely help him. Matt Ryan needs all the help.
Here's the Atlanta Falcons. A year ago, 10 yards from perhaps getting to
The thing with the Falcons offense is it's so stacked. And, even with Tony Gonzalez done, they'll have Julio Jones, Rodney White, Eric Douglas came off a 1,000-yard receiving season. And then else on the offense, Steven Jackson too. They acquired.
We would like to welcome our CEO, Trevor. We'll let him talk for a second if you want to. He's
Here it is.
Can you hear us, Trevor?
Yes, I can. What's going on, guys?
How you doing?
All right, man. We're at the Falcons pick right now. We're gonna let Justin make that pick since it's his favorite team. As soon as they do decide, and we're just kind of talking, analyzing the draft so far.
All right.
Matthews just wiped some sweat off his brow.
Sorry, my cat's being cool.
He looks nervous. I
Just
don't know why, but he looks nervous.
Matt Ryan's just out there. They signed that $105 million contract. And he still had a good season. He had, I think, 20-something
you reckon they're trying to make a trade here in Atlanta?
They're taking a long time.
Yeah, someone want to move up for Mike Evans, maybe?
Would the 49ers try and move all the way up to get Mike Evans?
Yeah, they've got
Ouch.
11. How many picks? 14 picks in this draft?
A lot.
They have ammunition to do it.
Yeah, they do. That would. Whoa. Richard Sherman wouldn't rate Mike Evans, though.
Make Sherman earn that
But
money.
Sherman can cover those big guys like Evans, though. He struggles more with the speedsters. That would be the perfect
Wow.
pick. That wouldn't be the ideal pick.
Matt Ryan's been under pressure 20 more times than any other quarterback last season.
I love how Romo's not on that list anymore. We finally fixed our line problems. I'd like
Yeah,
to
I'm
reject
glad
that.
not seeing
Cam
Big
Newton
Ben
will be
on
under
that.
pressure about 400 times next year.
I mean, Cam Newton's just gonna have to run every possession, so. Yeah. They're down to the 1 minute and 20-second mark, and they have still not made a pick.
I think it's gonna be Matthew. I honestly do. It just makes the most sense for them.
We'll see. Their pick is in, so as soon as Roger Goodell walks up, Justin will be there, hopefully, to make that pick for us. I'm not too sure. Justin is muted right now. Okay. As soon as they make that pick, Justin will announce that pick for us, because it is the Falcons. Their pick is indeed in. They did take a while. Maybe they were trying to decide between which offensive tackle they wanted.
Yeah, that
I
was.
mean, they're both very good offensive tackles.
I think a couple guys threw Zach Martin in that conversation too. I mean, it was for sure it was going to be an offensive tackle or offensive guard.
I think Martin's a stretch.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
Martin's a stretch.
I think you got to go with Matthews
Especially
here.
those two guys.
The character concerns with Luan, like got into a fight after the Ohio State game with fans. And you've got Matthews, comes from a great pedigree. He's a solid citizen. You've got to take that pick.
That's true. That's
I
true.
agree.
And you can't deny the
We'll see.
genetic pool that Matthews is from. His family is produced.
Still.
Oh, here it is.
All right.
I will
All
get
right,
this
Justin.
So as I predicted, with that 6th overall pick, the Falcons did select Jake Matthews out of Texas A&M. He's a very solid player. I see Johnny Manziel's really happy. I mean,
He's forcing that smile.
I've known him for a long time since his name got on the draft boards. And they're going to be a solid part of the line down the road. I mean, I'm really happy about this pick.
I think he's a better player than his teammate that was drafted 2nd overall last year, Luke Jokel, to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I also think him was a big.
Texas A&M is pumping out some players into the NFL lately. I think this is the 4th year in a row they've had a top 10 pick in the draft.
I think he'll be in the 5th. They had Ryan Tannehill that one year.
They had Von Miller the year
I think
before
Tannehill was the first year.
Nah, Von Miller.
So was it Miller, Tannehill, Joe Kittle, and now Matthews?
Yeah.
Was that the 4th?
Yeah.
So I can't think of a 5th one. That's impressive. They're turning into a nice little college team. That is impressive.
Well, speaking of Texas A&M and top 10 picks, I think the next 2 teams in the draft have to take a long, hard look at Mr. Johnny Football, because the Buccaneers and Vikings don't have a clear leader at quarterback.
What about?
I disagree with Tampa because Tampa has McCown now, and I like McCown. So Tampa could slide a couple rounds before they draft a quarterback. Now the Vikings is a different situation. They probably need help.
The Tampa take Mike Evans and pair him with Vincent Jackson. They're both very similar players, but imagine having those two on the outside.
That is true.
I think Tampa, they've been more ready to wall to way John has no plans into that kind of backyard football thing. So
Excuse me. They signed Josh McCown. I said Luke, but it is Josh, the guy that was with the Bears last year. and played pretty well. Not Luke and Josh McCown and McGowan. It is Josh, not Luke.
I think
McCown
Josh
definitely earned that contract last season.
had versus 1 interception last year. Jake Alexander.
He was flinging them everywhere last year for the Bears. But then, who wouldn't with Brandon Markham, Alshon Jeffrey? And then if you get in trouble, you just hand it off to Matt Forte.
Exactly. The Buccaneers need a quarterback. Their options that they have on the roster are not the long-term answer. They can't afford to pass on Johnny Manziel.
Wow.
I think they can afford to pass on Johnny Manziel because Johnny Manziel is not a top 10 pick. I think every team in the first round can afford to pass on a quarterback.
So I have the tweet real quick.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the difference between a Johnny Manziel and like a Garoppolo is that big a deal. And as we discussed before, like how many years will Manziel be in the NFL? Like how much punishment can his body withstand?
I mean, I think we have Johnny Manziel could be a poor man's Russell Wilson because he's short and he has so he could be a poor man's Russell Wilson, or he could be the next Ryan Leaf. I mean, there's a wide margin there on what Johnny Manziel can end up being.
Russell Wilson was a better pocket passer in college, though.
You got a point.
But it'll be interesting. Interesting to see what happens with Tampa.
They really couldn't go wrong here unless they draft like a running back. There's any of the top 5 guys that are on the board right now, they could draft and improve their franchise.
Have those given up on Doug Martin yet? Or are they still doing that?
No, he was injured last year. Is Manziel going? He's smiling here. He might have got the phone call.
Tampa Bay kept saying that if he was there, they were going to take him regardless. That wouldn't surprise me.
They can't afford not to.
And then you got to wonder, is somebody going to trade up for Teddy Bridgewater or Derek Carr? Because it keeps going the way that it is, and the Bucs do take Johnny Manziel here. Somebody's going to have to move up to get the quarterback that they want. Maybe even Cleveland.
I think this pick.
Minnesota.
This pick has to be something other than a quarterback. It just has to be. The Buccaneers can use McCown this year and have a rookie behind McCown and have him learn from that guy and then start him a couple years down the road. I don't think you need a starter. I don't think Tampa needs a starter, and their pick is in. So I will announce that when we get there.
Because you asked me, here comes a wide receiver.
Can't believe they wasted a pick last year on Darrelle Revis, and now he's not even there.
They traded him again.
Yeah.
Or they cut him. My bad.
Not him.
That was a mistake on their part. Whether you signing him, you could consider signing him being a mistake, but cutting him after you've only had him for a year, huge mistake. They wasted any amount of money they spent. It was wasted money.
Plus the number 1 pick that turned into, was it Sheldon Richardson for the Jets?
Yeah, the Jets moved up, didn't they, to get Sheldon Richardson?
Or was it D. Milner? One of those 2 picks he turned into for them, and Sheldon Richardson was probably the best rookie in the first round last year.
Yeah, he was good.
Those guys are talking about they might be drafting Aaron Donald. That's a good point. They have Gerald McCoy, and that'd be a very vicious.
Aaron Donald.
I'd be afraid of.
I think Aaron Donald's a little bit of a stretch at this point, but it's very feasible, and he would definitely help out their defense. So it's feasible.
Sorry.
It's more feasible with Tampa.
All those late Hawks have going 8th. The analysts.
There are a lot of problems in that division.
I do think Tampa Bay has a really good chance at being like a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. They're picking in the top 10, but I think they're a whole lot better than that, and I really think they're going to rebound next season.
We'll see. It depends on the quarterback situation, how their starter plays. It all depends on that.
And if McCown doesn't work out this season, they do still have Mike Glennon on the roster.
I think Glennon gets traded before the season starts. I really do. Especially if they draft a quarterback. I mean, I agree, but if they draft a quarterback, I think Glennon's the odd man out.
I don't understand how they could take a quarterback here because even if they do want to move Mike Glennon, if you still have Mike Glennon and McCown on the roster, I don't understand how you can add a first-round quarterback to that mix with the other needs that they have on the team.
I agree. I'm saying if they draft a quarterback in the second, third, or fourth round, I think Glennon's the odd man out. I don't think they take a quarterback here. I think taking a quarterback here is a huge mistake. They don't even have to take a quarterback really this round. They can take one next year and be just fine because the next year's class could be even better with the quarterbacks.
This year's class will be a lot better than this year's class. There's a quarterback. You'll have Mariota. You'll have Winston. A couple other guys probably gonna show out next year.
All right, guys. The pick is about to be announced. I will read it off as soon as Roger Goodell reads it off.
Called it.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have selected Mike Evans, Texas A&M, which makes the second player from Texas A&M not named Johnny Manziel.
I called that like 2 minutes ago.
That's a great pick.
He's a good pick here. He's very solid, great physical measurables, but he's got some anger management issues, and sometimes when he runs with the ball, he runs with it a bit too outstretched away from his body, so he's going to have to protect the ball a bit better, but you can't fault the pick. That's excellent pick. Him and Vincent Jackson are going to do some damage in that South Division.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm scared of it now.
Well, in the passing league, the Buccaneers now have perhaps one of the top passing wide receiving tandems. Who's going to be the trigger man, whether it's McCown or Mike Glennon? They still are going to get a quarterback in this draft. But now McCown has a similar set of weapons to use in this offense that he enjoyed last season in Chicago with Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall and running back Matt Forte.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Has Cleveland moved up to number 8 now?
No.
Yeah, they did.
Wait a minute.
Minnesota had 8.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, that's got to be a mistake, or
Yeah,
because it says Detroit's next.
Has Minnesota moved down? Is that what's going on? Yeah.
They trade
It can't be because the Minnesota would.
No, they've gone back. Minnesota and Cleveland have swapped.
Ah, there it is.
But
Cleveland
that's Detroit's picnic. Oh, okay, now it's right. Okay.
Cleveland have moved up.
What are the Browns doing? What are the Browns doing?
They're gonna pick that.
Oh no.
I would want Teddy Bridgewater over Johnny Manziel, but I don't think they'll go that way.
Okay, I'm confused.
They have to be drafting a quarterback. They have to be because Minnesota. That's what they need, and they're trying to jump. They tried to jump Minnesota.
The Cleveland Browns are going to waste another first-round pick on a quarterback. I feel sorry for the people in Cleveland. There's just no hope.
But they have said 8.
They made such a good trade, and then they might have just ruined it. That good trade.
And you gotta wonder how much did Cleveland give up to move up one spot.
Did they actually trade?
It's still.
From what I've heard, they gave up a 5th-round pick.
If it's more than a 5th rounder, they made a mistake.
Pick is in. Johnny. This is going to be Johnny, surely.
It probably is Johnny.
Alright, I will announce it when we get there. And if it's Johnny Manziel, we'll do a happy dance.
Does this team need to waste on quarterbacks, honestly?
A lot.
An inept franchise is just frustrating.
I mean, it's a place for quarterbacks to die.
The Browns
Okay,
really
it's fifth
traded
rounder.
a 5th-round pick to move up one spot to 8th. 145th
Yeah, that's not that bad.
round.
Not that bad.
It's honestly not that bad.
You're going to pick Johnny Manziel with 8. Like that's
To move up one spot.
Well, if it's Johnny Manziel, then it's a terrible idea. I'll be honest, if they pick Johnny Manziel right here, they just wrote off any chance of even contending this year. I'm sorry. I don't believe in Johnny Manziel.
I feel sorry for the people in Cleveland.
Bridgewater.
I think Manziel will be better than what they have. I just don't think he'll be a good fit with their system.
It's just. Just when I thought the Browns were beginning to be competent in the front office, I'm concerned about whether that was a mistake to say that or
But
not.
if the Browns don't pick Johnny Manziel here, you gotta wonder how far is he gonna fall.
He's going.
I mean,
Just saluted.
you wait for Minnesota to make their pick. If they take Manziel, you take Bridgewater. If they take Bridgewater or Carr, you take Manziel. I mean, you don't. I don't know. We'll see. Let's
Aaron
wait for
Donald
pick
would
first.
be a better fit right now.
The problem with Cleveland is they just have Brian Hoyer coming back, who won 4 games when the 4-2 start. They just signed Vince Young, who probably still has some kind of star caliber. I mean, they have I think they had 2 other guys that they recently signed. Like, you draft Johnny Manziel, you got 5 quarterbacks on your roster for basically no reason.
I mean, you have 2. You have 1 right now that you think might make cuts, like Hoyer. Hoyer's the only guy you think is going to make it past preseason, honestly. The others probably not.
It's gonna be Johnny.
I will announce it when it comes in, guys.
It took a couple of
And we
minutes
will make a
to get that
decision.
pick.
And we will talk about it. If it is Manziel, I do want to comment first because we all know how I feel about Johnny Manziel. Whoa!
Oh, shoot!
That's big. That is good.
Justin Gilbert! That's whoa.
Wow.
That's I don't. They have Hayden.
They have
What?
Joe Hayden, but that's it. That's all they got.
Now that they draft
Still, like that's not where you address that issue. Well, I like that better than the Manziel pick. I mean, you know Manziel has to be pissed right now. That's not good. They are pissing him off.
How far does he fall now? Cleveland, if Cleveland really does like Johnny Manziel as much as it's reported that they do, you gotta wonder what they don't like about him for Cleveland to think he's gonna be there at 26.
Did they honestly think Minnesota's going to take Gilbert?
Gilbert, I guess they thought Minnesota was going to take Gilbert. I don't think Minnesota's going to take Gilbert, but I don't know about that right there. That's
Lyman more than you need a cornerback.
Did they panic? I mean, that just doesn't seem like the pick. Like, that just doesn't seem like the pick that I was.
I think.
Like, the Vikings were probably thinking, oh, well, we just lost the quarterback that we wanted, and now they're thinking, oh, well, we can kind of take whatever we want now because that wasn't even on our board.
Did we have someone trade up in our mock draft to get Justin Gilbert? Did like the Giants do it?
I think they might have traded up
Good
to
corner, man. Like he's big. He can chase down. He's a great tackler. The only thing, like he gives a bit too much separation. But I'm happy for the Browns with this pick. Like they haven't taken Manziel. They haven't wasted another first round. Well, they might waste 26, but they haven't wasted an early first round pick on a quarterback. They're giving Joe Hayden some help. It might not be ideal, but it's a lot better than Manziel.
I agree.
I don't. Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald's probably going to the Vikings.
Yeah, Aaron Donald's probably.
I just don't see Gilbert as the ideal pick there. It's better than Manziel, but I just don't see it. I'll let the Browns GM decide that.
It is a mystery why the Browns felt like they needed to give up a 5th-round pick to move up 1 spot to take Justin Gilbert. But
that's true.
They have a bunch of picks in this draft, extra picks. If they feel that's their guy, giving up a 5th-round pick to make sure they get him, I can understand it.
But the Vikings, I don't even think Gilbert was on the Vikings' radar. They took Xavier Rhodes last year in the 1st round. They're not going to take another cornerback.
Well, I just took another cornerback, and they have the best cornerback in the game. So,
but the Vikings drafted one last year in the 1st round.
Well, yeah, but the Browns have Joe Hayden. They have a bookend now. They have 2 highly talented corners. I thought he would be a good pick for Minnesota. I don't know who their corners are after Xavier Rhodes. I know Winfield was there, but I think they let him go.
They took really fast.
They're in. The pick's in.
Whoever they picked didn't need much of setting on.
So the pick is in, as we just said. I thought it said there were no commercials. Oh,
I'm Minnesota going to take
my bad,
Denard.
it's past.
If they draft Manziel, I actually wouldn't be that good to them.
Well, with Matt Castle and Christian Ponder are your quarterbacks, Johnny Manziel might not be the worst thing that ever happened to you.
Yeah.
While we're at a commercial right now, I'd like to ask Trevor if he'd like to make any announcements for advertisements or upcoming events with PSC. Or a commercial right now, that might be a good time to do that if he wants to.
Basically, everybody follow us on Twitter at Pro Sports Extra, like us on Facebook. If you would like to advertise on our site, go to Pro Sports Extra, click on the advertisement on the bottom of the website. Advertisement on Pro Sports Extra is cheap, and if you have any questions, feel free to email us at prosportsextra@gmail.com. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in so far.
Trevor, I like that Michigan emblem over your head there. That's pretty sharp.
Yeah,
Go blue.
go blue.
So, I wonder how mad Johnny Manziel is right now.
Well, I think he's going to see if Minnesota don't pick him. He's falling. He's falling. He's falling to Dallas.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to cry. I will cry.
That would make my night.
I have to second that.
Ooh,
That might make the whole first round if he goes to Dallas.
You all see me cry. You will all see me cry live. I will cry right here.
We won't judge you.
We might.
Well,
You
yeah.
reckon Minnesota
I mean-
then, if they were looking at Gilbert, they'll probably look at like a Denard, maybe?
They don't need a
Merit?
quarterback.
Well, their pick is in.
I think they get Denard.
We're waiting for the commercial to end.
Pittsburgh would take Dark
And,
Rice before Dallas could
I'm
get
sure
Denard.
Trevor will. I'm sure Trevor's going to want to announce the Lions pick when it comes up after the Vikings pick, so we'll let him do that.
Well, I guess. I like to.
I mean,
watch the Lions take the receiver.
A receiver.
well, I mean, it wouldn't be that bad of a pick because Calvin Johnson needs help.
We just got Golden Tate.
Wow. I'm still shocked over Blake Bortles at 3. That.
The
That's
Jags
not
will be the Jags.
Every team that's drafted after Jacksonville has to thank them for making such a horrific pick.
Yeah.
I just don't see how Jacksonville can select a quarterback there when they are so far away from contending. And Blake Bortles, he's got the potential to be very good, but as it sits, he's nothing to write home about. There's no quarterback in this draft that's a superstar right now. So I just don't understand.
Yeah,
Minnesota, what are they going to do? Wow, this is going to be big for them. This will shape the draft again.
Take a
Another
while.
pick is going to shape the draft.
Oh yeah, this is one of those picks where their pick's going to affect the next 5 or 6 picks, if not farther down.
From the Giants.
Please take Johnny. Please take Johnny. Please. Oh, I'm sorry.
CJ
All right, I will announce it in 3 seconds, guys.
Oh, no!
Shh. Don't give it
Seriously?
away. Anthony Barr is your pick for the Vikings.
That's
That
not a bad
is-
pick.
Oh. Explain that one, Pat. I disagree.
That's not a bad pick. They need a linebacker. Anthony Barr can get after the quarterback. Minnesota was smart not to pick a quarterback there, and I don't think there's any other position players other than quarterback that would have been a much worse pick. So,
I agree. They need a linebacker, but Barr, he's just played 2 years there. He's been so inconsistent. Like, this guy was talked about as being a top 5. He's got a lot of potential. If he can learn that position, top 5 pick out of this draft. But at the moment, like, you're going to have to back in the coaches at Minnesota. I just think, I don't know, I just think shore up that line, get Aaron Donald in there. But anyway, we'll see how it plays out. Pretty big risk.
Well, I think he fits their needs on offense or defense. I mean, they needed someone to make a difference. Barr was the biggest difference maker left in terms of a pass rush. He fits in well. Last year they took Sharif Floyd. He's going to be the free technique tackle. Linval Joseph is their nose tackle. So Donald would have been adding to a position where they already see as a strength, or they at least have invested a first-round pick from last season in.
The only fair pick that's not actually at the draft.
Yeah, well, because he was expecting to maybe slip into the like late 20s, second round, but Barry Sanders.
Well, the Lions
Ooh,
obviously know who they want. Their pick is in, and here comes Roger Goodell, so we will let Trevor announce that, and there's Barry Sanders.
They need to take Darqueze Dennard.
Yeah.
that hurt.
Or
I
Calvin
think they
White.
should take Johnny Manziel.
Alright, guys, I'm getting nervous.
It's good social life for him.
You should be.
Hey,
It's the Lions. You should be.
come on, Odell.
Thanks again, fans, for voting me on the cover of Madden NFL 25 last year. This year, as a go to our we'll put out Madden NFL 15. Fans, you're on the clock. For more info, go to MaddenFootball.com. Fans, you're on the clock. NFL Draft. It's now my pleasure to announce
Whoa!
Woo!
Oh, that's such a mistake. Okay, Trevor, good.
I don't even want to say it.
Go ahead.
Dylan, go ahead. Go ahead, Dylan.
With the 10th overall pick, the Detroit Lions select Eric Ebron, tight end, North Carolina. And he is very much I love my boy out of North Carolina. He's a Tar Heel. He can play wide receiver, so it's another threat. It's another weapon that Matthew Stafford has. Takes a little pressure off Calvin Johnson. So overall, not that bad of a pick.
The only problem with this kid, he doesn't block. He does not block at all. I don't think he knows the block if it was staring him in the face.
Well, the Lions don't need that. The Lions are more worried about scoring. They're not worried about blocking.
Yeah, as long as Matthew Stafford throws for 550 yards a game, they'll be happy.
It's another weapon.
They need it. I mean, Calvin can't do it all.
They have Golden Tate.
The Lions did re-sign Brandon Pettigrew, a former first-round pick of theirs. So now
Who's
they
Brandon
have
Pettigrew? I mean,
Eric
What
Ebron
has
to
he
add
done?
to that mix with Megatron and Golden Tate. And don't be surprised if you see the Lions add to their wide receivers later in this draft. With the depth, they need to add another player or two to give Stafford some targets, because when Megatron goes out of that offense, it's very defensible, and their offense essentially shuts down.
well, let's ask the Lions fan here. How does he feel about Brandon Pettigrew?
How do I feel about Pettigrew? Honestly, I don't mind him as much as people would think. He does drop a lot of passes, but he makes some key blocks, and he makes some difficult catches. Excuse me. I'm just surprised here that we go for a tight end.
Well,
Well,
I like Ebron, so I hope he does good for y'all.
he's got a lot to improve on, though. He's got quite a bit, especially if they are going to play him out wider like Jimmy Graham plays for the Saints. He needs to improve his route running, but not a bad pick.
Traditional tight. He is not a traditional tight end.
Nah.
He is tall enough to play wide receiver. That is most likely where I see him playing. I don't see him playing tight end at all because, like you said, can't block.
But from the film that I seen, he was really slow.
No, he's pretty quick. He's pretty explosive after the catch. After the catch, he puts the burners on.
If he's gonna play tight end, he's improve as a blocker.
I think the only person more
At
disappointed.
Tennessee going to take a quarterback. Do they trust Jake Locker?
They trust Locker.
Gold pick, I have
Quarterback's not the answer.
Rosalie here. I have gold selection. Take that.
I'm gonna go Aaron Donald.
Ooh.
This is one team that does not need to waste money on a running back. I'm just going to put that out there. Obviously, they're not going to take one, but this is one team that has stuffed up their running back core for the last 5-10 years.
Where did CJ3K end up going again?
Jets.
Yeah, that's right. My bad. That's right.
I like Dennard here. I hope he falls to Pittsburgh, 'cause I really like him for Pittsburgh, but I don't know.
This has been like I feel like the draft gets stranger and more explosive and more exciting every year, and this one has not disappointed so far. This has been a roller coaster.
The thing is, the best bit's about to come because we're going to see a lot of trades. Like, are people going to move up for quarterbacks? What's going to happen now? You've still got, two of the big three, so to speak, still on the board.
It's true.
As long as Aaron Donald falls to the Bears, I'm happy. I don't think the Titans pick him though.
The farther Johnny Manziel slides, the more nervous I get. I'm gonna be honest.
Tennessee could very well go with the quarterback right here.
Huh. We'll see. St. Louis's second pick's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, that's true.
They might go Odell Beckham Jr. or Marquise Lee. They definitely need to add a wide receiver.
Yeah, they could use a receiver for sure.
The only problem that I see with St. Louis and the wide receivers that are left, they all fit the mold of the current wide receivers on that roster. Like, quick, not that tall, not that big. Like, can you play them all at once?
That's
Given
true.
Taron Austin, Brandon Cooks, or Odell Beckham Jr. That's the only problem I see with it. Maybe trade back for Kelvin Benjamin.
That's the exact reason why I don't want Odell Beckham to go to Pittsburgh. I would lose my mind because he's just a carbon copy of the receivers they have on that roster right now. They have to have somebody that can go up and get the ball. The tallest receiver that they have on that roster right now, I think, is like Plaxico Burress.
Well, they added Darius Hayward. That's nice. I think I right.
Plaxico wasted so much potential when he shot himself with an illegal firearm.
He shot himself with that one. Tennessee is under a minute.
Obviously, he wasn't smart.
I've got a player for you, possibly out of left field. If the Titans don't take Darqueze Bernard, it could possibly be Kyle Fuller, quarterback from Virginia Tech.
Yep.
They are running out of time.
Well, the thing with the quarterbacks in this draft is that they've all got their strengths and weaknesses. Like, it's tough to separate. Like, there's no elite number one quarterback. There's no D. Milner in this draft.
I wouldn't call Dean Milner the cream of that crop. He didn't do all that.
Yeah, Manziel.
I do think Blake Bortles
Stop showing his face.
taken.
I'm tired of seeing his face.
You're going to be seeing it a lot when he's a Cowboy. Team that wants him. Except when he gets to Dallas.
All right. The pick is in, and as soon as it is named, I will announce it for us. This is going to be interesting. I think we've all made our predictions on who they could pick. I don't see Mel's got their need as one of their needs as running back, and I have to agree that they do not need to spend a pick on a running back.
There's no running back we're taking at earliest in the second round.
I was talking about later. There is obviously no running back that even compares to an 11th pick. There's no one even close. I was just talking about later. I just noticed that was on Mel's one of their needs, and I disagree with that. So.
Again, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a quarterback. I had Manziel going a long time ago.
I don't see a quarterback here. I really don't. They've got Locker, and then I think they've got I think Fitzpatrick's still the backup there. So.
Nah, Fitzpatrick's at Houston, isn't he?
Yes.
Did he?
Patrick is in Houston.
Oh. I missed that one. I'm sorry. That was my bad, guys.
Tennessee, I don't think they knew who they wanted. Either a trade fell through or something, because they took until almost 30 seconds left to get the pick in.
They were trying to get something done, but they just simply ran out of time. I'm thinking no one wanted the price that they were asking for. All right. Taylor Lewan is the new pick for the Tennessee Titans.
Solid.
He fell back.
Not a bad pick.
That's solid.
Perfect. I think it's the perfect fit right there. He's the best player left on the board. They needed a lineman. I think it's perfect for where they're at.
Locker needs protection. Hasn't been able to stay healthy. There's your man.
Lewan's a steal.
There you go.
Top 10.
He definitely
Got to
dropped.
make sure that he stays out of those bar fights.
Yeah, you gotta definitely take care of his discipline. But that's when if he becomes a problem, that's when you do something like what the Cowboys did with Des Bryant. You said, hey, there's the restrictions that you're gonna do, or you're gonna take some of that money away if he does get in trouble. That's what you need to do with players like that. Tell them early, hey, it's a team game, and if you try to make a mistake, guess what? If you try to get to a fight, you try to hurt this team, we're gonna take some of that money away.
St. Louis, did they try? No, New York are on the clock. I read something earlier today which I thought was ridiculous, but the Giants maybe are looking at Manziel again, but that's just another rumor. We've had about 500 different rumors, but they do not need.
Why? They have so many holes. Why would they pick a backup? I mean, as much as I don't like Eli Manning, he's still the starter. I mean, why? Don't waste your first round pick on a backup. Stop, Adam.
Manziel to the Cowboys.
Stop, Adam.
Manziel to the
Adam, don't let me down. You're my only comment. That's the love. Don't do that to me. I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown, I swear.
I wonder what this means for Michael Roos to take
all that money and then pick Johnny Manziel here. That wouldn't make any sense.
I hope they pick Johnny Manziel. I want them to, just so I don't have to deal with it.
Manziel, though, would make no sense. Because they already have Manning, even though he's kind of on the decline. But the problem is that New York, that area, is a big city. And with his off-the-field troubles occasionally, it could be concerning to the Giants.
I mean, let's be honest. If they did pick Manziel, it would be the weirdest thing that's happened in this draft. There's been a lot of weird stuff so far. I mean, we're only at pick 12.
They can't, yeah. The New York Giants, I don't know, after they won that Super Bowl, they have just been in free fall. And I don't know, the only saving grace for them is they play in a pretty weak division. No offense.
They
to the
always
Cowboys.
do that. The Giants do that every year. They'll win that Super Bowl, and then for 5-6 straight years, they'll do nothing. They'll be in and out. Oh, are they going to win? Are they going to win 7-9, 6-10, 8-8? And then they'll just have one miracle run to the Super Bowl, and Eli Manning upsets Brady in the Super Bowl. That's what happens. It's happened 2 times now. They are the luckiest team in football, and that's biased. And I'm going to stop now.
Are they taking Aaron Donald? Would that be the smart pick here?
I think so. I
hope not.
I feel like Aaron Donald's a top 10 player.
I agree.
I hope
I
they
think
don't.
I do not.
Power that he's got.
Aaron Donald. I do not want to play him twice a year. That would scare
Aaron
me.
Donald will definitely have the most impact for their defense of any player left on the board.
I think Aaron Donald's the consensus expected pick here, and their pick is in. So, we'll see.
I don't know. I think maybe a receiver or offensive line here would be more of a need pick, but I feel like Aaron Donald's just too big of a value to pass up.
I agree. Man,
They were probably hoping for
how that he
Ebron.
generates, the ability to get to that quarterback. Oh, it just, I don't know, I get excited when I think about Aaron Donald and what he could do.
I loved Aaron Donald. Like he was a second round prospect to start with, and then he slowly started rising up, and he kind of stayed at 16 for a little while. I'm like, yes, the Cowboys can get Aaron Donald, and then he just shot up to the top 10. I'm like, dang it, that was so close. Like I'm so disappointed when he shot up.
I would be elated.
So I thought we were about to get like a steal. Huh. I don't know. Eli Lightning. They were probably hoping for Ebron.
What about getting Eli a weapon?
I mean, who do you draft though? Because Victor Cruz is kind of a speedster, and
That's true.
all you've got right here that you could draft is Odell Beckham Jr. and Marcus Lee, and they were probably hoping for Ebron. It's probably, but then the Lions took him, so they're probably going to go.
Yeah, Ebron was the pick that everyone was forecasting to the Giants for about 2-3 months, and then recently stock rose, and obviously Detroit. I think Detroit made that pick.
If they want to reach for the sky potential-wise, what about a guy like Kelvin Benjamin?
At 12?
I think that's a stretch at this point.
It's a big stretch, but every year somebody does it. Last year the Cowboys did it in the first round.
I don't think anyone should take it.
I like Travis Frederick. Travis Frederick was the top-rated center in the draft, and we drafted him because that's what we needed. And we didn't know whether he would be there or not. I was not a fan of the pick at the time, but after watching him play, I have to say that it was a beautiful pick. He played like a first-rounder, and we got a first-rounder, and I'm happy because our offensive line now has its anchor. So I'm not going to argue the Travis Frederick pick. But I think Kelvin Benjamin is too much of a stretch at 12.
Are the St.
They
Louis
have to get the
Rams
talking in. Trying to get the ratings. It's stupid.
If the Giants go offensive lineman, the pick has to be Zach Martin from Notre Dame, correct?
Absolutely.
I think Zach's a stretch here, but that is who they have to go with.
That's the best available if you're talking about offensive
Not a
line.
stretch.
Definitely.
He is projected in the teens.
Here we go.
And we will find out in a moment. The 12th overall pick of the Giants will be...
With the 12th pick in the 2014
Give me a second.
draft,
Yep.
the New York Giants select Odell Beckham.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Wow, that's incredible. The
favorite-
Giants go 2 years in a row with the wide receiver from LSU. Last year they selected Reuben Randall.
We really had a good season last year.
Beckham.
My favorite wide
Beckham,
receiver. Just went to my arch rival.
I just want to make a statement about, not a statement, but just an observation with Beckham. He struggled against the top tier cornerbacks, and even though he's got that elite speed, like he's going to be playing not 1 or 2 top tier cornerbacks every month. He's going to be playing 1 top tier cornerback every week.
True.
I don't think you can argue with it, though. Eli Manning struggled heavily last year. It was for a number of reasons. One of the reasons was not having the caliber of weapons to throw to that he needed, so you can't argue with it here. They're trying to do their best to fix that issue.
I like the take.
One of our other experts, he's a editor at Pro Sports Extra, Cameron Andrews, had a lacrosse game, but he has just informed me that he will be joining us in a few moments.
I doubt
He was originally supposed to be.
What is St. Louis going to do?
The Rams pick here is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, it
What
is.
about Ha-Ha or Darkey's here?
I think you have to go secondary.
Yeah.
Gotta go
Out of
defense.
Ha-Ha, Dick Darkey's or Calvin Pryor.
You could go Ha-Ha, or you could go,
Denard. Probably.
I think it's got to be Ha-Ha or Marcus Lee. It's got to be one of the two.
You're really high on Marcus Lee. I think he's going to slip into the late 20s.
He shouldn't. I think he will. He could, but he shouldn't. He could,
You don't
but
think he
shouldn't.
dropped too many balls this year at USC?
I
agree,
mean,
like the
I
quarterback-
think he's got talent, though.
Yeah, he does. The quarterback situation was a mess, to be fair, down there.
Well, it was a Belenikoff Warner his sophomore season,
I
so he
think
always
he
has.
played really well for what they handed him passing the ball. Passing the ball, I think he did really well for what they handed him.
I think
It's debatable.
Trying to bring on the Super Bowl.
Mom tells a great story. You were 4, intense as always.
Nah, he didn't hear her voice.
I mean, if the Cowboys could trade up here and take Aaron Donald, I'd be thrilled. But
It
other than
wouldn't
that,
cost them
do
too
not.
much on moving up a couple of spots. They'd have to get in front of Chicago, because I think if Donald gets to Chicago, I don't see them passing.
Yeah, I can't see Chicago passing on Donald. They need to shore up that defensive line.
They better not pass it.
My draft. They definitely need the defensive tackle.
St. Louis, wow. Is St. Louis finally going to make the playoffs this year? If Bradford stays healthy.
Who?
St. Louis, if Bradford stays healthy, can they make the playoffs?
There's no way. I mean, the division's too
If Bradford stays healthy, I think they can pull a wild card. Like maybe the second wild, maybe all three of the wild cards be from
with
the
Arizona,
NFC West.
That's barely missed the
But that's
playoffs.
questionable.
There's no way.
Wow, is that Johnny's girlfriend?
One of them.
Let's see, there's.
He's pretty special if you're bringing that one to the draft.
Yeah, that must be the first one he started dating.
Have you guys noticed? Have you guys heard the music that the players have run out to or come out to?
I haven't actually noticed that.
No interesting song choices.
The picks were so surprising to points I forgot all about the songs. All right, the Rams pick is in on ESPN. It is on commercial right now, so we are not entirely sure who it is. But as soon as Roger Goodell goes up there, I will announce it for you.
They're showing ads in Australia. They're showing Blake Bortles highlights.
Going back to that pick.
The Rams. Go ahead, Patrick.
Going back to that pick of Blake Bortles at number 3 for Jacksonville. I disagree with him going that high, but I do think that the right quarterback went first. I feel like Teddy is better right now, but I feel like when it's all said and done, Blake's going to be at the top of this draft.
It's not that Valley's the best quarterback. In my opinion, he just went to the wrong team.
That's the only problem. Like, it's Jacksonville. I think Blaine Gabbert would have been an average quarterback if he had went to a better team.
Yeah.
I think Jacksonville sucks any talent out of any quarterback that ever plays there.
There's a classic red ruiner like Cleveland. It's their post David Garrard era.
They need to start Chad Henne surely this year. They can't start Bortles in Jacksonville.
As far as the top 10 picks go, I feel like it was a lot more quiet than it was expected to be, though. With only, what was it, the 2 trades.
Yeah, I mean, only
Gotcha.
2 trades.
I think this is where you see the first safety in the draft come off the board, whether that's Pryor from Louisville or Clinton Dix from Alabama.
I like Pryor better because of his production, whereas Dix, like, he's got everything, all the potential is there, but I didn't see enough of it at Alabama to put him ahead of Calvin Pryor at this stage.
I like HaHa a little bit better myself, but I think either of them could end up being the best. Those 3 really. Oh, 2. Aaron Donald still up there. Zach Martin still up there. They definitely did not go Zach Martin, so we can expect Aaron Donald. That'd be stupid. Take freaking Greg Robinson, then take Zach Martin. Like that'd be a blunder. Can he?
Yeah.
Still no. I mean no. Just no.
Aaron Donald would be a fierce asset in this defense.
It's crowded if you add Aaron Donald, though, in my opinion.
I don't think it's too crowded if you have Long on one end and Robert Quinn on the other and Michael Brockers as your nose tackle. Zach Martin, that technique would be pretty potent defense.
That is scary. That is scary. That is scary.
But then they're so weak in the secondary, aren't they?
They are really weak in secondary, though. They need help because they need help.
They could. You could see another corner come off the board, whether it's Denard or Fuller.
HaHa could go. Pryor could
Who's
go.
announcing the pick?
Where's that coming
Good
out?
question. Can't tell. It's not zoomed in close enough. Oh.
John overcame leukemia with the help of St. Jude's Children's Hospital. He now plays football at Auburn University.
Ooh,
Impressive.
they got him.
The Rams have selected Aaron Donald, defensive tackle Pittsburgh, and they now have one of the, if not the scariest, front line. I think the fearsome foursome is back.
That's good pick for
That
wasn't
is
what they needed,
West.
as we discussed earlier. Cornerback was what they need.
The NFC West is probably the best division ever right now. That is insane. Yeah, San Francisco and Seattle and Arizona, who won 10 games last season. But like town, you had St. Louis with this. That is insane.
So now you know, unless somebody trades up, Johnny Manziel's not going 14, and he's not going 15. So unless somebody trades up, he's going to be there when
He's
Dallas.
not going 16. He's not going
Jerry
16.
Jones is going to
He's
ruin
not.
the Cowboys more so than he's already done.
Of course, Dylan, the other Dylan will name the Bears pick for us. He's a Bears fan. So when it comes time, we will let him do that and explain why he likes to pick or why he dislikes to pick. I'm gonna ignore the Johnny talks for right
Maybe
now.
let's just
If it
compare
happens, I'll
Aaron
deal
Donald
with
to
it.
Warren Sapp.
Johnny Football.
It could happen.
Quick note on Pittsburgh here, though. If Chicago selects Denard, I don't think there's anybody available that's going to fill a need for Pittsburgh. That's not going to be too much of a reach. They might be stuck, unable to trade down. But if Denard goes here, that would be the best scenario for them.
Chicago's pick is in.
It didn't take very long.
Well, it's going to commercials.
Another commercial.
It's funny how, like, the first hour they don't let any commercials happen, and then, like, after that hour, every 5 minutes you see, like, 18 commercials. It's funny how that works.
Gotta make them money somehow, though.
That's what. Yeah.
Just like that real quick. The commercials.
Challenge to ping pong by Arnold Schwarzenegger, just like an 80s superstar we can't mention by name because of legal reasons we can't get into right now. Like the perfect computer for whatever happens. See more at upforwhatever.com. For more than 60 years, regulars should make the jeans work. They feel good, very strong. Right, 5-star premium denim jeans are built with a U-shaped construction. They don't have anything like jeans with a V pattern.
It's going to be interesting. You think now's the point where teams start panicking and wanting to get that quarterback, but maybe teams are smarter than we give them credit for. And they got to let Johnny go to the second round.
Houston sitting there with that first pick at the top of the second round. You know they got to be excited with the way things are falling right now as far as those quarterbacks are concerned.
Yeah.
That's very true.
It would be prudent for like a. I can see Belichick moving back in the to the second round and giving up that his first round pick if a team wants a Badner. Classic Belichick. It'll be a classic move by the Patriots. You got to feel for the kids like Garoppolo. Like he's sitting in the draft room. He's probably thinking, I'm not going to go until round 3 or 4. What am I doing here?
Starting at $18.99. One word, bacon.
Chicken, bacon, tomato, mix not to love.
Real chicken. It's made of high white, hardwood smoked bacon. Each farm.
Garlic Parmesan lime, and there's more to come.
Best case scenario here for Chicago, I think, is going to be a safety. They got to go secondary. Donald's off the board. I felt like that was the best pick for them at their slot. That was the best possibility as far as players that were going to fall their way. But right here, it's got to be secondary.
Yeah, it's a DVF on con. There's no doubt about it.
So are you thinking cornerback like Denard or safety like Pryor or HaHa?
That's the question. It just depends on who they got rated higher on their board, I think.
I think they have
Well,
safety.
I would think safety just because they have Jennings and Tillman. but then they've got Major Wright at safeties. I think still, yes. So I don't know.
They seem thinner at safety than they do at corner, so I would lean that way. I think Dix is your pick here, the kid from Alabama. But then again, I think Dylan probably has the best insight since this is his team.
Yes, we will let Dylan announce his pick and give his analysis of it. It looks like they're back, and Roger Dale will be walking onto the stage any minute now, hopefully. And my friend, his name's Luis, he used to write for Pro Sports. He just sent me thank you for making Dallas so interesting. So, Manzo, Dallas, kill me.
And I think they do secondary, but they use a quarterback that I think they might try to convert to a safety. I don't know. It depends on how they develop him.
Very good leader, Phil.
Cowboys are one
Bowler's a stretch.
He's a little, yeah, he's a stretch. He
Oh,
gambles,
he's a stretch.
and the concerning thing, he missed the last 6 games of the season, so you've got to wonder, like, what's going on there? Is he over that injury, groin injury? Not what you want as a cornerback.
Yeah, I think it just depends on how the coaching staff works with him. And where they place him.
Another thing that he needs to work on, he gambles a lot of gambling going on there. Like, he takes a few too many risks, but sometimes they pay off, and sometimes they lead to touchdowns.
One of his better strengths, though, he is very good in space. When he gets out in the open field, I feel like that's where he's at his best.
Yeah.
I think Denard would have been a better pick there. But I like Fuller, too, so we'll see.
As far as
course.
Pittsburgh on the clock here, they usually don't take very long to make their picks. Kevin Colbert, the general manager, has said multiple times that he would like to move down. I don't think they could go wrong either way here. I think the best pick at this point is going to be Darqueze Dennard. They need a cornerback. Ike Taylor's getting older. They don't have a number 1 guy other than Ike Taylor, and he's borderline at this point in his career anyway. I think they can address 2 of their biggest needs right here. If you get a cornerback right here, and in the second round, if you can pick a receiver, a bigger guy, something different than what they've been selecting the last few years. But best case scenario right here is, if I was making the decisions, it would be Dennard or it would be Zach Martin.
The Cowboys have a chance to take Ha-Ha Clinton Dix.
Or
Do
Johnny.
not fall to the Johnny
And Johnny
Football trap.
Manziel, I think. I think he's still available.
Take Ha-Ha. Please, dear God, take Ha-Ha. Please.
Johnny.
Yeah, I think the Steelers could go either way here in the secondary, and it would be a huge improvement for them. Troy Polamalu is not getting any younger. They do need help at corner as well. So whether it's Pryor, Dix, or Dennard, that any of those 3 players could help the Steelers.
And they didn't take very long in typical Steelers fashion.
All right, Patrick.
With the 15th pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers have selected Ryan Shazier, an outside linebacker out of Ohio State. That's a pretty big shock for me. I'm pretty disappointed in that. They do need an outside linebacker, but right now Jason Worlds and Jarvis Jones can suffice on the outside. Getting somebody in the later rounds I felt like would have been a better decision. Shazier did play at Ohio State. Pittsburgh does love players that come out of Ohio State. Cam Hayward, the starting defensive end, they took in the first round out of Ohio State a couple of years ago. I just feel like I felt like it was a reach. And I feel like there was a different position To be honest with you, even Kelvin Benjamin in that situation, I would have been happier with. I don't understand that pick, but I don't make the decisions.
Are you worried about his size?
Absolutely. In that 3-4 defense, you got to be bigger. You got to stop the run. You got to play the pass. You got to get after the quarterback. As an outside linebacker, you got to be able to do it all.
Really undersized.
All right, guys. I want to cut in real quick. I see Cameron is here now, so I'd like him to introduce himself real quick while the Cowboys are on the clock, and then we can talk about the Steelers pick while the Cowboys are deciding what disaster Jerry wants to make. So, Cameron, you can introduce yourself now.
Hey, can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, I don't like that 15th pick for the Steelers.
And Johnny Manziel still on the board. Earlier this week, Manziel described himself and Jerry Jones as having developed a friendly relationship. Look, they can make
friendly relationship between Jones and Manziel. Sounds like a match made in heaven.
Please stop. Please
This will
stop.
make the entire broadcast if the Cowboys take Manziel.
Oh no, is John's phone ringing?
How's Aaron Rodgers' tweet? This should be an interesting 10 minutes.
Please, dear God, you can take haha. Please take haha. Take haha. Take Calvin Pryor. You can take Michael Sam right here, and I'd be happier. Okay,
Jerry looks like he doesn't know whether to wish or wind his watch right now.
Coney Ealy, Lewis Nix, anyone. Anyone. If you want to take a quarterback, take Teddy Bridgewater. I don't care at this point. Anyone but Johnny Football, please.
Will Johnny Manziel be happy sitting behind Tony Romo for the next 3-4 years anyway? Like,
absolutely not.
Well,
exactly.
Okay, I'm Cam.
I will personally stop cheering for the Cowboys if they start Johnny Manziel as a rookie.
For Pro Sports Extra for like six months, something like that. And I'm a Patriots fan. I write about NFL, and NBA. That's basically it.
Please, Jerry, trade. Dear God, please just trade it. Don't do it. Trade. Select anyone.
Well,
Please.
he knows he can trade
I'm
down
begging.
to get Johnny.
I am begging.
Well, let me
I
ask
am
you
begging.
this.
I don't blame to trade, because if he trades down, you know he's looking at Johnny. Yeah, like you said.
Who is the top defensive
Anyone.
player left in this draft that you would like to see the Cowboys take? Because that is where their biggest problems are on that side of the ball.
Ha Clinton Dix. Clinton Dix. Calvin Pryor. Jimmy Ward. Coney Ealy. Lewis Nix III. I have a plethora of players. Wow, we're down to
Calvin Pryor would be a smart pick for the Cowboys right now.
Anyone would be a smarter pick.
Well, he hasn't got a phone call yet, Johnny. And the pick is in.
Jerry Jones doesn't deal in smart.
Please be Johnny Football somehow. Just so we can see Dylan's reaction.
Pick is in.
Don't do it, Jerry. You're better than that, Jerry.
No, he's not. I'm so nervous. I don't. I really don't. Please. Dear God.
Ray Lewis just put it the best. If you take Johnny Manziel, you're not here to win games. You're just here for money and revenue. And the Cowboys are never going to
Ray Lewis. For the first time in my life, I agree with Ray Lewis. If they take Johnny Manziel, they're obviously not here to win. I agree with Ray Lewis for once. I'm shocked completely. I'm gonna.
I'm just so
There's
disappointed.
a reason Manziel is still available at 16. He's not that good.
I hope Jerry Jones is smarter than that. I really do.
Goodell's playing it well. The suspense. He knows this could be the biggest pick in the draft. The biggest mistake in the draft, even.
I don't even want to look. I really don't. I'm gonna cry. I'm really.
You know Marcus Martin is safe, right?
Uh-oh. Here he comes, Dylan.
There he is.
Dylan.
I will announce the pick, for better or for worse.
Oh, he's smiling.
He's trying not to laugh.
What? Zach Martin! We don't need a tackle? Ha ha, Clinton Dix! Oh my. It's better than Johnny Manziel. You know what? I'm going to stop. Zach Martin, welcome to the team. Thank you. Thank God.
He can start anywhere
replace
up and
Doug
down
Free
the
now.
line for you.
We get to replace Doug Free now. I don't have to see Doug Free on the team anymore. Oh my God. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God, thank God, thank God. Oh.
The crowd in attendance is less than thrilled, but you're elated.
Zach Martin, welcome to Dallas. Oh.
Does he slide in with at right tackle?
Yeah, they'll probably put him at right. Keep trying on it.
Got to put him at right
Replace
tackle.
Free.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as it could have been, but now where's Johnny gonna go? This is wow.
All right, everybody. I'm so happy now. Like, it doesn't get any better.
Is Johnny gonna fire his agent like Gino did?
Oh, hey, I'm back.
He looks pissed. Like, he looks mad.
He just looks like he got a call.
His agent got a call. It's probably the teams like to explain that we're interested in, like to explain why they didn't pick him. There's no way the Ravens picked him. There's no way. I mean, the Ravens aren't calling right now and saying, "Hey, we're drafting you."
It wouldn't make sense for the Ravens because they already have their team locked up.
I'm gonna have to reserve my judgment on that Ryan Shazier pick until I see how the rest of the draft goes. At this point, I wholeheartedly disagree.
Do you know what I am excited about? The fact that all these corners, like Darqueze Dennard is slipping, and you've got your safeties that are slipping. It's bizarre.
Just means those late round, well, the 20s picks are actually going to get a solid player.
Yeah. What about Manziel to the Cardinals? They've been linked to Derek Carr now, so don't know if they expected Manziel to be there at 20, but that's a possibility. If they're, I don't know how many years Carson Palmer's got left in him.
I think the Cardinals are going to take a quarterback, and they're expecting Blake Bortles to be there, but obviously he's gone now. So I mean, they want to get a quarterback to play behind Carson Palmer until he retires.
I've got a wild card pick for you here for the Ravens at number 17. The top safety in this draft, I think, is Jimmy Ward, and he could come off the board here to go to Baltimore.
Why do you think
They
he's
have
better
no
than
wide
Calvin
receiver.
Brown?
I think he's the top safety in the draft because he is the most versatile. He can play strong or free. He can play corner. He can cover a tight end. He can do whatever you need. He's just a player from one side of the field to the other. I think he's the best player at his position in this draft.
All right. I'll accept that. That sounds good.
Fair enough.
Big call, though. Big call to do that.
One thing, though, for certain is Ozzie Newsome rarely makes a mistake. So whoever the pick,
I mean,
it's going to be a good player.
we'll see.
I just think I love the way that Pryor plays. He just plays with a reckless abandon, and he hasn't been injured yet. So I don't know. I think he can energize a defense, but obviously you've got to wonder like how long is that sustainable to play the style that he plays.
Now they're comparing Johnny to Aaron Rodgers.
Good God.
And if he slips past where Aaron Rodgers was taken, will he be compared to Geno Smith next?
That's who they're comparing him to now. They just put Gino up there.
Everyone's happy in Dallas. Dylan's happy. That's good. I would hate to have seen them take Manziel. It would have ruined his night. He would have been in a funk the rest of the broadcast.
I think Manziel's night's ruined right now.
I think he's going to be all right. He's going to find a good home.
Eventually. Maybe the Jets will take him.
Ha. They're talking ha.
If Baltimore likes HaHa a lot, they could be pretty excited that he's still there.
Connection you can make is Ozzie Newsome, of course, is a former Crimson Tide player himself, so he may see something he really likes in HaHa, and that might be the pick. Of course, they did take Matt Elam last year, so they have him going into his second year.
Disappointed though, Matt Elam. Mine.
I love how Ray Lewis just started talking about himself. So I have a bunch of fans on Twitter. They all write for Pro Sports, or used to, and they were all disappointed to see Johnny not go to Dallas just because they wanted to see my reaction to Johnny going to Dallas. So I'm sorry to let you down, but
They can still
I'm
trade up. I'm
thrilled.
not giving up hope.
No, give up hope, please. Dear God, give up hope. If the hope dies, then Jerry won't do it.
I think usually the way it works is Jerry makes a decision and then the hope dies.
I mean, the hope didn't die quite as bad this time. I mean, all right, the Ravens selection.
Good
The
pick.
Ravens select
Wow.
C.J. Mosley, Alabama.
Wow.
I still think the Cowboys could have got HaHa prior. The Martin pick was a surprise, but thank God.
Mosley's not a bad pick. Like inconsistent sometimes with his hands and things, but his and with his ball skills. But one-on-one against a run, like I don't know if there's a better player in the draft.
Very true. Very true.
And good kid, man. Like humble kid. He's one of the best students. I think he was all academic team, maybe. Just good kid. Another like a good Ravens pick. Another, as you guys said, Ozzie Newsome rarely makes a mistake, and I can't fault him on this one.
I had the Alabama connection right. It was just the wrong player. Mosley fills a need. They took Arthur Brown last year from Kansas State, but they still need more depth at the inside linebacker position, and Mosley gives them that. He can cover a tight end. He can play the run. He's a good fit for their defense.
Oh,
Wow, this draft is, I don't know. I think Todd McShay said it. He said he doesn't expect anyone to go, like many quarterbacks to go in the top 20, but he'd be surprised if 2 or 3 of them didn't. It's been up in the air.
Yeah, along with the deepest draft, I think this one's definitely been the most unpredictable.
The Jets are up.
this
They
is going
can
to be
really use
interesting.
the playmaker. Ebron is gone. Odell Beckham is gone.
Brandon Cooks, you'd think.
They did sign Eric Decker, but they need someone to pair up with him.
Yeah.
They have a diverse team. I think they'll go Baltimore midway through the first. You know, I did a little homework here. Sometimes we've done a lot of drafts. You've seen a lot of drafts, and now you've seen
I
some.
don't know, man. Brandon Cooks is still there. I'm not too big of a believer in those smaller receivers, guys like Cooks and Tavon Austin. I'm not too big of a believer on those types of guys. I think you got to be bigger to play the receiver position. You got to take that punishment over the middle of the field. And I'm not sold on guys that size being a big role in the offense at the receiver position.
undersized middle linebacker for the NFL at 225. Tremendous instinct, range exceptional.
So the past 4 or 5 years, the Cowboys have spent 3 first-round picks on offensive linemen. Very key emphasis because, I mean, this time right before we drafted Tryon Smith, and even after we drafted Tryon Smith, the line was a mess. Like, I saw plays where literally Romo would hike the ball, and like 1 second later, there's a defensive lineman trying to drag him down, and he had to pull some of that Romo magic and like spin out and like make these amazing things where I think he's about to get his head knocked off, and somehow he gets the pass off. So I think the Cowboys are trying to make a statement that we are going to protect our quarterback so he doesn't have to suffer another injury. I think that's what Jerry Jones was trying to establish now that I've calmed down and can analyze this pick a little bit better.
I think a player like Brandon Cooks would be a nice fit here with Stephen Hill and Eric Decker. If not Cooks, possibly Marquise Lee.
No, I wouldn't mind that pick here.
What if they go tight end? Just take a risk on Safario Jenkins.
They have a huge need at tight end.
They are prone to shocking the world, so to speak, the New York Jets. So that would be a big pick. Obviously, he's charged with wrecking his car and things, and his intangibles aren't great. But Rex Ryan probably thinks he can work with it. He's got the talent, good blocker as well.
Remember, they did lose their cornerback, Cromartie, in free agency, so they could be looking maybe at Darqueze Dennard to come in and play opposite D. Milner. I know they have Kyle Wilson, but he has never quite developed like they had hoped.
Yeah, defensive back here they could fill a pretty big need for the Jets. It was one of their biggest strengths 2 to 3 years ago. And
they just take Kansas City for Johnny Manziel. That would be a mistake of epic proportions, surely.
Well, when it comes to the Chiefs, like I said, they haven't drafted a quarterback since 1983, in the year that Dan Marino and John Elway and Jim Kelly were all part of that historic quarterback class. So nothing would really shock me with the Chiefs. I just can't see Manziel being the pick. They really need to improve at wide receiver. If a player like Cooks or Lee is still there for them, I think that's got to be their pick.
Yeah, from a Chiefs perspective, you take Manziel, I suppose he's going to open up the field for Jamal Charles. Maybe, but I don't know. It's not good.
Hey, let's just put Alex Smith and Johnny Manziel out there at the same time. You don't know who's going to get the ball, and like, it just confuses the defense and the offense, and we don't know what's going to happen. Perfect football.
Sorry guys, my Wi-Fi keeps screwing up. Or connection.
They're taking some time here. Maybe they're trying to work out a deal. Maybe some team wants to move up in front of Arizona to get that quarterback, because maybe it's well known that Arizona are going to take a QB here.
Almost every team has let it trick down to the minute 30 mark because they wanted to trade. Like the Cowboys tricked down to like 10 seconds, and the Rams tricked down a couple times. And like I think every team's trying to get that trade out, but they're trying to ask too much for it.
Both are pretty sad that position. But true, you never know.
I think the pick here is Darqueze Dennard. I think he's this is the right spot for him. Jets need some help at corner.
He fits very
Who do they
well.
have at safety right now?
DeJuan Landry plays strong safety for them, and Antonio Allen is free safety. So Clinton Dix could be a possibility, I suppose, as a free safety. But I'll throw Jimmy Pryor in there as well.
That's
I feel like
true.
Pryor would fit
No,
that.
they're taking some time. They're trying to get a trade off.
I feel like Calvin Pryor here would be a much better fit than Clinton Dix in that 3-4 defense. I feel like Pryor's a much better tackler. He's a lot more physical.
That's true.
Pryor and Landry would give them two very physical safeties, that's for sure.
Exactly. Here we go.
And then they can always stretch forward. Pick is in.
See how the Jets faithful up there in New York take it.
They're gonna boo whoever they take here, the Jets faithful.
Oh yeah.
Arizona could be in play for Johnny Manziel simply because, one, Carson Palmer's not getting any younger, and two, I don't trust Carson Palmer to hold a football sometimes.
The word is that they were really, really high on Derek Carr. I think that was from Mel Collins, was quite. But now, yeah, but as I said earlier, I don't think they expected Johnny to fall this far.
Definitely. I think everything that was hyped up about Johnny was definitely by the media. I don't think a single team made anything they said about Johnny Manziel.
It's weird how, obviously, on our coverage, we're talking about him so much, and the NFL Draft on ESPN, they're talking about him. And at the end of the day, Johnny, as we've all discussed, Johnny Manziel probably will not be I don't think he'll ever make a Pro Bowl in this league. He's not going to be a star in this league, so we're giving a lot of attention to a kid that, at the end of the day, might not even be anything.
He doesn't have the skill set for it. He just doesn't. And he's got the attitude. Everyone's trying to compare him to Russell Wilson when he is not Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson's more explosive.
The 18th pick. The Jets select.
Jets fans are applauding. Chad Pennington likes it.
Calvin Pryor.
Great pick. As it's reckless.
It's a good pick.
Perfect. Like, for once, the Jets did not screw something up.
Rex Ryan is going to love this kid, I reckon. Just the way he plays is just...
Oh, definitely.
Rex to a T.
He feels a huge need on the Jets defense.
Oh. He's gonna walk in first day of training camp, and everyone in that locker room is gonna respect him.
Big hits. Big hits. This guy is very physical. They just showed a highlight where he decleated someone.
You just hope that the way he plays stands up in the NFL and he doesn't suffer any major injuries, because you love watching this kid play.
The Dolphins are up next. Like, they're a team that really should have made the playoffs, and all they had to do was win to do it, and they couldn't get the win off. And they need some help at O-line here, but with Zach Martin gone, you have to figure they're going to go somewhere else, maybe the defensive side of the ball. Definitely not a quarterback, not at this point. I wouldn't expect a wide receiver. I would expect defense definitely here for the Dolphins just because of who's left.
Are the Dolphins did quarterback Ryan Tannehill? Or are they going to look, not this draft, but maybe next year they're going to need to look at getting another quarterback? Because I'm not sold on Tannehill.
I'm sold on Tannehill. I think he just needs a little more time to mature, and I think he will be a franchise quarterback and maybe make a couple Pro Bowls in his career. Not many, but a couple, 3 at most.
I really like Ryan Tannehill as well. I think they're set there. They just need continuity within the offensive scheme so he can become accustomed to it, get comfortable, and excel. They need to build around him. They did a great service in the offseason by signing Brandon Albert to play left tackle. That will help him on standing upright on passing downs. We'll see where they go with this pick, though.
Well,
they still need a right tackle, but there's not a right tackle there at this point. But they must protect this young man for him to be successful in the NFL. It's as simple as get. He's young, and he's not exactly used to the NFL yet. He must have protection to be a success.
What about another weapon to put next to Mike Wallace?
That's an option.
But then you've got, I suppose you need another slot receiver, another route runner, because Mike Wallace is your deep threat, but they don't have that slot receiver at the moment, do they?
I feel like
Ryan Hardman is probably their number 2.
I'm thinking Lee here. I think it's about time for Lee.
Yeah.
Lee Cooks, or I'll throw a name out for you because they don't have a wide receiver quite like him. That's Kelvin Benjamin, or another receiver who I think is very undervalued in this draft.
That's a good point.
From the SEC, I think Jordan Matthews.
Jordan Matthews, yeah.
He could go.
Me and the guys walked into this place. Even the thought from the name of it, something the back says. I immediately picked out the biggest guy in there, and I walked straight up to him. He looks me square, and I swear he says, "Welcome to Navy Federal Credit Union." Well, friendly alert. I got a great honorary guy. With rates last across the board, it's a great time to buy a car. 4 million members, 4 million stores. Navy Federal Credit Union.
I suppose another receiver we could talk about at this position, maybe Cody Latimer.
He's a very intriguing option. He's tall, he's fast, he's got the potential to be a star.
I really like Latimer a lot. I know he's been mentioned as a potential late first-round pick, and if he's their guy, they might just want to take him here and not risk losing him to another team if they trade down.
Yeah, I do think Miami's winning this year.
What's the score in the Miami Heat game? For anyone out there that
One.
Miami won by 12.
What's the score? Who? By 12?
Heat by 12, hey?
I don't want either team to win this series, to be fair. So, anyway.
Like Miami has an
How's
opportunity.
Mel Kiper put Derek Carr at overall rating him at 21? That is just, it's just irresponsible.
The Dolphins have less than 3 minutes on the clock.
I won't be surprised if they go Bernard though.
The Miami Dolphins, just obviously not with this pick, but later on in the draft, they need to be looking at a running back.
I agree.
The Dolphins did sign Noshawn Moreno in the offseason. They still have Larry Miller. Honestly, I think they have some talented running backs. If they can improve the offensive line, these running backs might have a chance to show you what they can do.
That's true. I just want to see with Noshawn, like, was his production a product of Peyton Manning, or was it, Noshawn, obviously he's a first-round pick, first-round talent, but he hadn't done anything up until the point that Peyton got there.
That is scary. He really didn't do well until this past season. But the Dolphins took a chance on him. They could have another running back, but that would mean Daniel Thomas or Larry Miller would be on the way out.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Thomas or Miller, but obviously they're young. But I really like Carlos Hyde, but I wonder who's going to end up with him. He's in. Here we go.
I've always kind of liked the Dolphins as my unofficial AFC team because when I was little, I was attracted to the colors. That's about it. So, just throw that out there.
I feel like Miami's got to address one or two needs here. I think they got to get something on the offensive line, or they got to get something at wide receiver.
Yeah,
I agree.
Don't shoot yourself.
But there's nowhere. There's not really a
value
person
back
here that can
the
address
offensive
their
line.
offensive line. The talent's just not here for offensive line right now because Martin's gone. But wide receiver is definitely. I think they're gonna go wide receiver.
Arizona, after this, they've got to be thinking quarterback. That's going to be interesting.
I'm thinking this is where Johnny Manziel goes. I think he deserves Arizona.
So do I.
He can tutor under Carson Palmer.
I'll make a prediction. If Arizona don't take a quarterback at 20, I think there's going to be a trade for 21 for Green Bay's pick.
That's a good prediction.
That's very true because Green Bay really liked Jazier as well as C.J. Mosley.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Roger Goodell is walking up, and with the 19th pick, the Miami Dolphins select.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Mistake.
Wow.
Jawan James, offensive tackle, Tennessee, and that is quite a stretch, in my opinion.
Why would you stretch like this? Obviously, they couldn't find a trading partner to trade back, but this is where teams need to. This is where general managers work out what they're doing.
Exactly. When a team drafts the right tackle in the first round, it tells me that they really don't know how the draft works. If you want to take the right tackle this early, more power to you. But they just paid Brandon Albert nearly $10 million this season to be their left tackle. We know all the problems they had last year on the offensive line, but to still take a tackle at this particular juncture is, well, I just hope they didn't hurt themselves making that reach.
Sorry, before I comment on that, the Cardinals have just traded their pick to New Orleans, so they must be moving back to get a quarterback. The Cardinals, you think?
No, the Saints are getting Lee. They're either getting a wide receiver. They're
They
taking They're taking Ha.
Oh, this was just great.
They're definitely not going for a quarterback. They're going to
sorry,
Sean Payton
I meant
said something.
Arizona are going for a quarterback. They're going back to get a quarterback. They've moved back for the quarterback, not the Saints move forward for a quarterback.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I just don't understand Miami. If you cannot trade that pick and you're going to waste it on a right tackle, you've got to question what you're asking for that number one pick. That is it's amateurish. That is just amateurish drafting.
It's basically just the
At
Dolphins.
that point, you need to draft talent. You need to draft talent at that point. If that's who you want, get him in the second round. You need to draft talent at that point if you can't find a partner.
Pathetic. That is. There is a reason why the New England Patriots are so good. These teams need to look to the people in their own division and realize there is a reason we have been crap for the last 10, 15 years, and it's infuriating.
Hey, the Dolphins won that division 1 year in the last 10 to 15.
When Tom
good
Brady
on
was injured.
I don't know, I feel like the Saints could go a couple of ways here. Receiver or secondary would be the obvious ones.
You reckon secondary after they got Jarius Byrd, and then they...
No, after they lost Knights more, they're definitely going receiver.
Yeah, receiver. I think it's got to be a receiver here.
Marcus Lee maybe, or I think it's time for Marcus Lee to get off the board. He's too talented to stay on that board.
I think Cooks makes the most sense, though.
I don't know. We'll see.
Are the Saints worried that they've pissed off Jimmy Graham, so he won't be staying next year? That's also a possibility they need to look at.
I think they did piss off Jimmy Graham. They signed him as a tight end instead of a wide receiver and paid him less money.
Exactly. I think he's very...
Cornerback could be a big possibility here with Denard falling.
I agree. They signed Champ Bailey, but he is old. They have Keenan Lewis. Denard would be a strong pick for them in that division, especially with wide receiver from Texas A&M joining Tampa Bay today.
They have Bird, though. Keep in mind that they've signed Jarius Bird to a free agent tender.
He would take care of the free safety needs. You could rule out a player like Dix or Ward, but Darqueze Denard could fit in at corner.
Very true.
Remember they picked Kenny Vaccaro last year at our receiver. They won that.
Their defense scored almost as much as their offense in 2009 when they won the Super Bowl. And that defense, I felt like it lost something over that offseason that they haven't fully recovered. So I feel like they need that hard hitter on the defense that can add the difference maker. It has to be something that can bring them back to that, hey, we've got a defense that can compete for a Super Bowl.
Absolutely. They've got guys up top like Bird and Kenny Vaccaro. They can complete the defensive transition here with the right pick.
I think Cooks could be the pick, trading up. They lost Lance.
Third round pick.
Arizona picks up an extra third rounder, plus the Saints' first round pick, so that's what Arizona gets. That's pretty solid swap.
Yeah, especially this late in the first round. That's a good pick.
I'm still buying quarterback for that 27th pick.
Yeah, I think Arizona definitely going quarterback.
I realize the Saints traded up. You would think they would have made their pick by now. You'd think they would have known who they wanted. Seeing they traded up for that, you'd think they traded up for a certain player. So why are they taking so long?
There's just so many different guys at those positions. I mean, it's like more of a, okay, we need this, and there's plenty of this left.
I mean, you would think they had a certain player in mind, though, like, hey, this guy's here. If we don't move, we're not going to get him, so let's... It doesn't even have the countdown clock, though. It just says they're on the clock. Like, I want to see the countdown clock.
I think they made their pick. I kind of saw it in the background.
Because it says the pick is in upstairs on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Green Bay's on the clock
I didn't see that. Okay, I see it now. Hey, they can do what they normally do in the first round and draft a running back. Just for fun.
Draft Jeremy Hill. Kid at Louisiana, that's right.
Draft Jeremy Hill, Carlos Hyde, Trey Mason. Who cares? Let's just draft the overrated running back in the first round.
Why not?
And with the 20th pick in the 2014 draft, the New Orleans Saints select.
Nice.
Good pick. Brandon Cooks, wide receiver, Oregon State.
I like Cooks.
Solid.
That's a good pick.
Solid pick. Solid.
He was the fastest wide receiver in the draft class. Like, you can't compare with that. Like, they need speed on the outside, and also this kid's been through a lot. Like, his older brother's in jail. His mum had to raise him and his older brother by himself. So, and he's a good leader. So he's not a bad pick for the Saints.
Very true.
I'd be very surprised if Clinton Dix didn't go to Green Bay right here.
Unless Green Bay decides to trade down, which would not surprise me at all.
And Philadelphia's got to be really happy.
Oh, yeah. Philadelphia's thrilled.
Why is Philadelphia happy? Please explain.
They probably didn't think a guy like Marquise Lee was going to be there when they picked. Everybody thought they were going to have to trade up for a receiver, but at this point it looks like they're going to be able to get a pretty good one by staying there.
Definitely.
Well, that breaks my heart for the Chiefs at 23. I was hoping either Cooks, Lee, or Beckham would last to that pick. The best I can hope for now is
the Cowboys fan.
For Johnny Manziel, and they can somehow trade down from 23 and recoup a draft pick.
It hurts me as a Cowboys fan because I don't want to play against Marcus Lee. I really like Marcus Lee, and I don't want that to change.
I think the Chiefs have to look at trading up with Green Bay right here and try and secure Marcus Lee. I don't know what it would take.
Please do.
But
I mean, I already lost Odell Beckham Jr. to the Giants. I'd rather not lose Marcus Lee to the freaking Eagles. I like both those
Green Bay
players.
to
I'd rather
move
not go to
down 2
rivals.
spots, the Chiefs might be able to get away with only giving up a 5th-round pick or something in that neighborhood. Maybe even a 6th or 2 6th-rounders they have in this draft. They could package something and move ahead of Philadelphia here and grab Marquise Lee.
From a
The Packers
Carolina
should definitely be calling.
from a Carolina perspective, they can really shore up their secondary here, and they don't need to reach for a tackle like Batonio or Cyrus Conjau.
And they can always get a wide receiver later in the rounds because there's a lot of good wide receivers in this draft.
Yeah, well, they still might end up with a Latimer or Benjamin still available. I'd go for the secondary help ahead of those two, but you see Gettleman seems to know what he's doing. There's the mom.
I mean, they can get a first round talented wide receiver in the second round if they want to.
Philadelphia has also been heavily linked to Clinton Dix.
Clinton Dix has dropped a lot farther than I was expecting. But if you look at the current trend of Alabama players in the NFL, they tend to not do quite as well as they were expected to, so maybe teams are looking at that like, maybe we want to take a second look at them.
When you're drafting, you're seeing more as Alabama, the best college team in America, rather than actual talent. That's the big problem with it.
I wouldn't call them the best team in America,
Well,
seeing they lost to a...
over the past few years.
I wouldn't call them... Oh, well, I mean, this year they definitely disappointed in their bowl game, so...
I'm talking about like years ago, when they won like 3 out of 4 or 2 in a row or whatever.
That's true.
Darqueze Dennard would be a good pick here. He would give them a bigger corner that they're lacking. Williams and Shields are good players. They're just a little bit on the smaller size.
Without a doubt, yeah. Well, Darqueze Dennard would be a good pick anywhere from now until he gets picked. Like.
Absolutely.
Look, but you're getting a 15 talent.
Yeah, exactly. Any team that passes on Dennard at this point, I'd even be happy if the Chiefs took Dennard.
Yeah. I just don't. I still can't get over 2 picks in my opinion. The Jacksonville pick of Bortles and Miami's pick. That they are just both amateur.
Those are the 2 biggest head scratchers thus far.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm starting to get that sick feeling in my stomach every time the Chiefs pick gets near in the draft.
There's no way you had the feeling that I had this year, so you'll be okay.
I think the reason that Clinton Dix has slipped is because of the fact that his production, like he played for a great Alabama defense, but his production is not as good as we've seen from some of the other top cornerbacks that have been taken this year and that have been taken in the past. So maybe teams are worried. If he couldn't produce at Alabama, arguably a team with the best defensive coordinators, Nick Saban, the best systems and structures in place, will he be able to perform at an NFL team? Which there's a lot of chance that the NFL team that he goes to doesn't have the same structures and support around him that he would have had at Alabama.
Green Bay just definitely needs a safety. I mean, desperately.
Green Bay made their pick. Come on, Green Bay.
They're looking to trade. They have to be looking to trade now.
If I look at it from the perspective of Darqueze Dennard is still on the board, Jimmy Ward is still on the board, and Marcus Lee is still there, then I know the Chiefs have an opportunity to get one of those 3 really good players, but will they take one of them is the question. I would be happy with any of those 3.
Cool, I heard the Bears GM was saying that he picked Fuller because of his high number of tackles and because he was an all-out effort tackler. Kind of interesting.
The pick is in.
Deal.
The Green Bay
Alright,
Packers pick is in the end. So I guess they
What
couldn't
about
find
a
a
tight
trade
end?
partner.
You got to feel for Johnny here, and Teddy. But Teddy probably expected to go in the second round.
I don't feel for Johnny at all. I mean, Teddy has to feel bad too because he like plummeted. He plummeted from like the surefire, the Texans are gonna draft me to will I get drafted in the first round? No, I probably won't get drafted in the first round.
It was incredible how
It's like Teddy has to be like,
His pro day's got a
Teddy
lot
has
to
to feel
answer for
terrible.
that.
I don't know. Cleveland is still sitting there at 26.
They're definitely taking a quarterback, aren't they? Cleveland at 26. They're gonna
Probably.
go.
I would.
They're gonna make another Brandon Whedon-esque mistake.
I wouldn't. I'd wait for the second round.
When you take 3 quarterbacks, we'll say they take 3 quarterbacks in the first round within 7 years, you really got to question it.
Not to mention how many starters they've had over the past 15. Not even draft-wise, just starter-wise. Quarterbacks are not a friendly. Cleveland is not a quarterback-friendly place.
Yeah, it was Jackson.
Taking him.
There we go.
The Green Bay Packers select Clinton Dix, Alabama.
I know.
Very happy.
It's not a bad pick.
Solid.
It's fine.
He fits in that defense a whole lot better than he would have fit in a defense such as Chicago or somewhere like that.
He's got to get more powerful, but Green Bay, great place to develop, great place to learn. They win by their offense anyway, don't they, down there in Wisconsin?
Oh yeah. Now
They
Philadelphia
bribe their players
pretty
with cheese.
excited right here. I think it'll come down to Latimer, Benjamin, and Marquise Lee for them.
Yeah, without a doubt. Or if they want to maybe like a Jordan Matthews as well. I think someone discussed him earlier.
Matthews is a heck of a player.
Yeah, he is.
He's another guy that if the Chiefs decide to take, I would be all right with that.
Yeah.
I wish the Bears have to play ha-ha twice a year. I think it'd be pretty good.
They're sitting pretty here, Philadelphia. You thought when they lost to Deshaun Jackson they wouldn't be able to get somebody of a Marquise Lee top caliber player, but he's there.
They can kind of pick their. They can.
He's there for the
They can
taking.
pick whatever receiver they want. That's considered like a third best guy or fourth best guy in this draft, maybe a fifth best guy in this draft. The draft fell exactly how they wanted to. I'm sure how they wanted it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
You could, if you're Philadelphia, you can't ask for a whole lot more than what you have right here.
Mel Kiper has Carlos Hyde as his 5th best available prospect. That is way too high for that.
Yeah. I noticed that.
He's got to understand that the running back position is getting more and more devalued as the years go on. Like, it's a passing league now.
Yeah.
Running backs are easily
Mel-
exchangeable.
If Carlos Hyde had Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Wow.
He has Jordan Matthews above Marquise Lee. I don't like Mel Kiper's
Are
decision.
Cincinnati going to take a quarterback? That's another question.
I wouldn't. I would not.
Wow, this is...
There's going to be a lot of good players left in the second round, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
This
without
way,
a
yes,
doubt.
there will be.
There's going to be one more than there should be because of Miami's pick.
You're not going to let that go, are you, about Miami?
I just don't understand. I don't understand how some people have jobs in the NFL when they're making picks like that.
Try whether it works for the
I mean, I'm sitting here in nowhere, North Carolina, when I can make a better pick than that. You hear that, Miami? If you see this, hire me. I'll be your next GM. I will make a much better pick. I promise.
I'm in Australia. I could make a better pick. I could have called it in internationally, and it still would have been a better pick.
Oh, so Chip Kelly's gonna draft Manziel just because he committed to he wanted to go to Oregon to start, man. That makes perfect sense. That's why you need to be a head coach instead of a commentator.
Kelly.
That's why he needs to be a head coach, not a commentator.
Who, John Gruden?
Yeah. He makes stupid comments sometimes. Like that's just dumb.
How's onto the coaching? How's Jay Gruden going to go in Washington? I don't know if that was the right man for the job there.
I like Jay Gruden. I'm kind of sad that he went to Washington.
Well, he was an offensive coordinator, and did Andy Dalton develop from year 1 to year 3 under him?
He developed Andy Dalton farther than the head coach did himself. I blame the head coach in Cincinnati more than I blame Jay Gruden for Andy Dalton's lack of production.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a tough one.
The rest of the offense is perfect.
Yeah. Well, does the Washington Redskins locker room respect him? Like, is he going to keep RG3 under wraps? Like, did they need somebody who would have been more authoritative?
Mike Evans said Johnny Manziel should be number 1. Should have been number 1.
If Johnny works out, he's definitely a playmaker, but at this point, I don't see it. The Browns just traded up to the Eagles spot.
This could be where Manziel comes off the board.
Looks like we're going Johnny Manziel right now. Looks like it's going to happen.
In front of Kansas City, I think.
Who knows what this is?
What if it's not Manziel, though? That'll kill that guy.
Who could be if it's not Manziel?
Twitter's already having a lot of fun with Manziel right now.
Browns
I'm gonna cry
why
laughing.
they gone up for Manziel? What are they doing? They could have got him at
I mean,
26.
they traded up for Justin Gilbert. They traded up for Justin Gilbert earlier, so it would make sense they trade up for Manziel now. So why not? I mean, it's the Browns. Come on. Can we really question anything they decide to do?
How can... Oh, no wonder this team had their franchise moved. Honestly.
I got to argue with the Browns fan about that today.
Oh my God, they're just bad decision after bad decision.
It doesn't matter who they put in there as management either. It's every single person they've ever put in there as management has made bad decisions. Like, I do not understand. New ownership, new coaching, new management, new players, it doesn't matter. They find a way to destroy the hearts of Cleveland.
They know that they're only going to be there for one season, so they just swing for the fence.
Can Kyle Shanahan, can he deal with Manziel? Like, does he know how to run a scheme? Oh my God.
The pick is in, and Manziel
Watch him drop.
ready to be drafted.
Watch him draft like Jimmy Oladipo or something. Or like Taj Boyd, I don't even know. They traded a third rounder? Oh my God, they traded a third rounder. Oh my God. That made that trade in the first. That made their first trade down. Now that's worthless. They made that trade that's worthless now.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Oh, it's far from worthless. They got a number 1 pick next year out of it from a bad team.
No one spot, a third rounder to get to this team.
There is a reason this team is terrible, and this is going to prove it.
Let's see.
Gotta be Johnny.
And the Cleveland Browns select.
Oh.
They select.
There it is.
Go.
Finally.
He is
Johnny Manziel. Oh my God.
I feel
Now,
for
just
the
for a
people.
minute, hear me out on the Browns.
Johnny,
Cleveland.
A third-round pick
Johnny.
and a fifth-round pick to get Johnny Manziel, Justin Gilbert, a first-round pick next year, and a fourth-round pick next year. That's a good first round for a rookie GM, Ray Farmer. I think he would use this draft to get 2 players he really wanted, get another first-round pick next year. They have 2 number 1s again next year. Bold move, 2 good players. I like it.
I don't think
I disagree because I think Cleveland will be picking, you can mark my word on this, Cleveland will be picking another quarterback in 2 more years because they're going to realize Johnny Manziel is not going to be able to handle the rigors of NFL football. He's not going to be up to NFL football, and this is why this team is mighty mediocrity. This is why this GM, I think, will get sacked in 2 years as well. This team is terrible.
I'm going to go further than that. I'm going further than him. I'm going to say they're going to be drafting a quarterback next year in the first round because they're going to realize Johnny Manziel's going to do such a terrible job. They're going to realize, hey, we made a mistake again.
I'm sure the quarterback this draft.
You know, Ray Farmer will probably get fired and they'll hire a new GM and he'll want a new quarterback.
He's the most divisive player in this draft, and for good reason. Obviously, people think that he can translate into his college form into the pros, and some people don't. But I just don't know. He doesn't make the pocket throws. He's too reckless. And the other thing, one thing that I read, which was really interesting, I think one of the ESPN guys said that Johnny Manziel, the way he plays, he makes his offensive line look terrible. Because the way he's moving in and out of the pocket when he doesn't need to, and his offensive line are going to get angry at that, and then that's going to lose motivation there. That's just one of the many issues that this kid's going to have when he's playing in the NFL.
All right, let's see what Johnny's got to say. The humble approach.
I think the kid's a winner. The Browns need to win. We'll see what happens. Certainly their history would indicate that he's going to be a failure, but you know what? Johnny Manziel didn't make all those picks. He's not those players. We'll see what happens. He's got some really nice things to work with.
I mean, I like
Aiden and Gordon. So we shall see.
We'll see. We will. It's going to be interesting.
He could be the most popular man in Cleveland, or he could be just another Brandon Whedon. And there's
so you want to know what would really really crush Cleveland? Like, go ahead and finish. Like, half of Cleveland would like stop watching sports if he becomes like the superstar, and after his rookie deal decides to leave, just like LeBron James did. That would finish Cleveland off. Like, they would.
5 years down the road.
No longer.
Let's just relax. It's 5 years down the road at least. Let's see how this kid can do. Browns have a pretty good team. They need a quarterback. They drafted one. Let's give them a chance.
I still think they drafted the wrong guy.
I agree. But, James, I'll be talking to you about this pick at the, maybe end of next year, maybe end of 2 years, and we'll see who was right and who was wrong.
I would love to hear what you guys have to say when this kid's got a year or two behind. One thing to remember, they do have Brian Hoyer. The guy was a winner last year for him. He's coming back from an ACL.
Like, the stats they're showing right now.
Look what he's. They haven't showed one pass out of the pocket. Not one pass.
You can't do what he's doing in the NFL. You just can't do it. Torn ACL, broken collarbone. I mean, I'm seeing all kinds of injuries. Like, he can't. That's the one pocket pass, and it wasn't even that nice. Like, you can't do what he does in the NFL. Wide receivers aren't going to be that wide open in the NFL. You can't do it. He's got to develop a lot bigger skill set than what he's got right now. You see, he's tackled right there in the NFL. He's tackled right there in the NFL. Tackled right there in the NFL. Tackled right there in the NFL.
Never know.
He's not fast enough for the NFL.
The only thing I say, I feel sorry for the fans of Cleveland. They keep getting all this hope by management, by media, and it's just going to be dashed again and again. Jeez.
And it's not like they can wait for basketball season because, you know, they really don't have another sport to, like, lean on. I feel sorry for Cleveland.
The Indians go to the World Series.
That's not going to happen.
They were in the playoffs last year.
I don't know enough about baseball. I'll stop. We need Patrick on here. The other Patrick. He could talk down, but
What are the Chiefs?
I think some of the worst decisions I've ever seen have been made in this draft.
Yeah.
What are the Chiefs gonna do? They're under 2 minutes here.
Well, Marquise Lee's still up for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, Lee's still there, so.
They didn't have to make a trade for it.
I mean, James, your mic is muted, so if you were trying to talk, we cannot hear you.
I lost my connection. I hope to take Lee, but rarely do the Chiefs and I ever agree.
They gotta get a receiver here because they don't have another pick for the 3rd round.
Yes, they have given 2 number 2 picks for Alex Smith. They need to hit on this pick. They need to add a big playmaker to their offense. Marquise Lee fits the bill. He can return kicks. He can be that big play receiver to complement Dwayne Bowe. I like him. I hope the Chiefs like him.
Under a minute now.
They're under a minute now. And, of course, when the Chiefs do make their pick, we will let James make the selection because it is his favorite team. So we are going to wait to see what they decided to do. They are at 45 seconds right now. We do hope you have been enjoying this show. I know I have enjoyed it myself.
Did you hear what Sal Panettone just said? Apparently there has been never a roar in Cleveland as the roar that they just heard when Johnny Manziel got selected. No wonder, because that team has never been to a Super Bowl, and the decisions like this is why they don't go to Super Bowls. It's why they are constantly cheering draft picks.
That's why they're always waiting for. All right, the Kansas City Chiefs pick is in.
Usually they like to go to commercials during the Chiefs pick, so this will be interesting if they stay.
You know what else I don't understand about the Browns? Why did they trade up here? Because there's not a team between where they were at that would have wanted a quarterback.
Kansas City.
I can see, other than maybe the Chiefs.
I think that's why they traded up.
There's like one
teams may take him, or another team might trade in front of him.
That's true. So maybe I still don't. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Did Sal Panettone just said the GM walked outside and a little kid looked up at him and said, "Draft Manziel"? Is that what he just said?
I think. Well, I mean, would it really surprise any of us if that's how Cleveland makes their selections? I mean, let's be honest. Would it really surprise any of us?
I guess Cleveland.
Managers there.
Cleveland has been the talk. They have another first rounder next year, 2 first-round picks. That's a big haul.
They will draft a quarterback next year in the first round to replace Johnny. That little jersey with all the names on it of quarterbacks will be getting a little bit longer after this year. Mark my words.
All right, here we go. The commissioner's on his way to
the podium. All right, James. Moment of truth.
Whoa.
Wow. Well, that's, like I said, it's the Chiefs. Here we go. The Kansas City Chiefs have selected Dee Ford, a defensive end, outside linebacker. He'll play for them in their 34 defense. And, Dee Ford brings one thing to the table. He can rush the passer. I'm not sure if he can drop. I'm not sure he can cover anyone. So, I don't know. I'm very happy with this pick. It pretty much signals the end of Tamba Ali as a Kansas City Chief, which is also very saddening to me as he's my favorite player. But he's due to make $14 million or so in 2015. So by drafting Dee Ford, the handwriting's on the wall, much the same way it was for Brendan Albert after they drafted Eric Fisher last year.
He's just one of those talented guys that just fell him back. He's really skilled.
Their defense is going to be scary. I'll give them that.
They do need pass
Bengals
rush.
are on it.
Last year, when Ali and Houston went down in the same game, their pass rush disappeared. But they have bigger needs, in my opinion, when you still have those two players. Donnie Avery is still starting at wide receiver. That scares me.
That should scare you. Ooh, prediction for the Bengals.
They've got to take Denard here.
I think Cameron had Jason Verrett.
Yeah, I like Denard for the Bengals here.
Yeah, Adam Jones.
They're going to get a steal. They are about to steal if they get Denard.
That's why they've made that pick so quickly.
Their picks already in. They're going after Denard. This is Denard. There's no way this isn't Denard.
That's an easy pick for them, wouldn't you say? Darqueze Denard for the Bengals?
Oh, yeah.
I will be shocked if it's not Denard.
Can I just make it
quarterback?
Back to Cleveland. They moved up from 9 to 8 to get Justin Gilbert, but if they moved up from 26 to 22, they could have got Darqueze Denard. Just saying.
I thought Denard was going to go between 10 and 15. I'm just surprised me that he's fallen this far.
I mean, Denard was rated the best cornerback to start this draft earlier in the year before the draft got closer, and he has fell way past where I expected him to go. And Marcus Lee has also fell past where I expected him to go. And I guess I will have to give credit to whichever one of you said that Lee would fall to the mid-20s, because it looks like that will happen, if not farther.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected Denard to be available at 24.
Definitely not.
They must know something we don't.
I mean, they're looking at the same footage we're looking at. I don't know what they see.
Well, I'll tell you what might be hurting Darqueze Denard. He had hernia surgery after the season.
That is true. That is true.
That might be the issue there.
That could be a factor.
Yeah, I'm interested to see Pittsburgh's press conference. It's already over, but I'll go and rewatch it when we're done here. But I'll be interested to see their press conference on why Shazier was a fit there, because I thought Denard was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think every team that passed on Denard is going to regret that.
Yeah, I do too. Only thing I can pray for now is he just keeps falling all the way back to number 15 in the second round.
That's not going to happen.
Probably not.
That's not going to happen. Look, last year, I didn't really want the Cowboys to take a lineman in the first round. I didn't really want them this year either. The difference is I was so happy about them not taking Manziel. I wasn't mad this time. The Bengals pick is in like it's been in for like ever.
The Bengals haven't won a playoff game in 25 years.
They've been.
Could Cincinnati shock everybody by getting a quarterback here?
Possibility.
That would signal Andy Dalton's deterioration, because that would take all the confidence he has out of him. They have to decide whether Andy Dalton's their man or not. It has to be Carr. I mean, it has to be Derek Carr or Teddy Bridgewater. It has to be one of those two.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard about how far apart they are in contract negotiations. Andy Dalton thinks he's worth top-tier money, but obviously he's not.
Can someone explain to me why Derek Carr is second on his list and Carlos Hyde is third? Can anyone explain that to me? Anyone want to give it a shot? Like, an explanation?
They're all playing idiots.
I mean, I thought Mel Kiper was supposed to be their top draft expert.
Yep. Good pick.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
pick.
expected.
Absolutely had to do that.
Definitely did.
Predictable. Yeah. Wow.
And they play in the same division as Pittsburgh. I will guarantee you Pittsburgh's going to be regretting that for a long time.
Was he not invited to the draft?
He chose not to go. He wanted to spend the time with his family.
Oh, okay.
Which is
That's
very
admirable. Oh yeah, I mean, I just thought he did. I chose not to. I was like, whoa, wait. Like I thought they didn't invite him. If they invited him, he just chose to spend time with his family. That's perfect. That's very admirable.
Pittsburgh is going to be regretting this for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He could end up being the best defensive back in this draft.
But then you got to worry, like,
That's
is
saying
he
something.
healthy? That's the question, I guess.
I mean, players bounce back from knee surgeries a lot better than they used to, so I think he'll be okay.
Who is San Diego going to pick? They're an interesting one.
San Diego. They definitely could go defense. Anything in defense, really. They need that.
Yeah, well,
And then
Keenan Allen looked good last year at receiver for them.
yeah.
Could they draft
And then
Marquise Lee?
Put him next to Keenan Allen, yeah?
They could. But I mean, their line's still nowhere near close enough what they want to protect Phillip Rivers, so they could go. But I don't know a lineman that's available right now that'd be worth it.
Maybe Batonio.
Lewis Nix, maybe defensive line.
Yeah. Gates is getting old. They could jump up and draft a tight end.
Lewis Nix, maybe.
This is interesting.
The nose tackle.
Do they shock everyone and go quarterback? Who's their backup? Who's their backup?
Ellen Clements is their backup.
Who?
Ellen Clements. Exactly.
Oh,
The kid from Boise
I thought he was a Ram.
No, he is matriculated to San Diego.
Oh. All right then.
I thought it was Charlie Whitehurst.
He didn't play too bad for the Rams last year.
I think the biggest need for the Chargers is at cornerback, and Jason Verrett could be a pick for them.
I agree.
I don't know. I like Verrett here, but I think it would be more beneficial to them to draft a front seven instead of a back four.
If they go front seven, I think Lewis Nix at nose tackle would be a big improvement for them.
Definitely.
They haven't quite been the same up front in the last few years. He would help them there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked to see a receiver either.
I wouldn't either. They need help with receiver too.
Two of our new specialty chicken or meat and two-topping pizzas for only $5.99 each. You cannot be afraid to fail.
There are a couple of good defensive ends that are going to come off the board at the end of this first round. You've got your Coney Ealy and your Stephon Tuitt. Well,
Lewis Nix, the third.
yeah. Still some very, very good players.
And then Jernigan was going to be here, but he probably dropped because of the drug testing. And then you got Hagman. He might go late first, early second.
To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for infection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away.
Chargers are still on the clock, apparently.
This is the age taking action.
So Derek Carr and Teddy Bridgewater are still up there. Then
You've got to think that Arizona have moved back to get a quarterback.
I mean, the Carson Palmer is their starter, so if Arizona were smart, if they want to back up, then they draft him in the second round. I don't think they need to trade up.
And they didn't have very many picks to start the draft as well. It could have been just wanting to acquire more picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. They do not want to trade up if it's including picks this year. They want to try to stockpile a few more picks this year because this is a deep draft.
To the Cleveland Browns have
Oh yeah, the Chargers were like a long shot for the playoffs this year, and then the Ravens lost, and the Dolphins lost, and they won on that botched field goal kick against the.
Here we go. They made it.
Field goal kick against the Chiefs.
Receiver.
And they made it. Didn't that like screw over the Steelers because like they lined up illegally or something against the Chiefs?
Jason Barrett.
Yep.
The San Diego Chargers select Jason Barrett.
Jason Barrett.
That makes no sense.
I mean, it's a solid pickup. I might would have went front seven instead, like I said, but back four's not too bad. That's a good pick.
Solid.
Very quick.
I can see that.
Level.
Very quick corner. Well, they just showed a stat that San Diego had the worst passing yard against. It was 9.1 per attempt, so they're definitely going to help in that area.
It looks as though Philadelphia is going to be able to trade down and still take a player like Marquise Lee.
Exactly.
You reckon that,
Yeah, they've stole this draft. They've stole it. I can't even believe that. Because they could still get Lee if they want, or any wide receiver they really want that they could have got last without trading. So not a single wide receiver stole.
Carolina in a very good position to get a solid receiver here.
Yep.
Yeah, they can. Those safety players that they might have wanted to look at, or those secondary players they might have wanted to look at, are gone. So
I think it's out of Batonio and a receiver at this stage.
I agree. Because they were not expecting these elite receivers, or not elite, but these good receivers to be here at this point, so they can definitely take advantage of that and give Cam Newton a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at this point, his offensive line needs help, and he has nobody to throw to. Cam Newton's not looking very good next year right now.
Plus, he's coming off an ankle surgery, so he can't develop any chemistry with these guys that are below average. So he can't even develop chemistry with them right now. So they definitely need to get a stud in there.
Philadelphia.
He's got
Benjamin.
the Mel Kiper's best available players is a little weird. I don't know about that. He's got Bruce Ellington at 8, the 8th best. He's got Bruce Ellington and Jordan Matthews above guys like Kelvin Benjamin. And he's I don't know.
Philadelphia's taking a while here.
They could be trying to trade again.
I don't think they will trade this time, though. You never know.
No, I think, especially if there's Lee. They really want Lee.
Yeah, you can't get greedy here. You got to pick somebody.
Yeah. But if they are trying to trade and Carolina wants Lee, they could pick up another pick somewhere.
Yeah.
And still get a wide receiver.
I don't think Carolina are going to trade, though, because they need as many picks as they can get because they've got so many holes in that team at the moment.
Okay. They're sure taking a long time.
Yeah, really are.
Taking a lot longer than I thought they would at this point. They could go. They could go Kyle Van Noy instead of a wide receiver at this point.
Yeah, Jimmy Ward.
They could be an outside linebacker.
Jimmy Ward was up there. Yeah, Mel Kiper had him at 10.
Nah, he's too much of a stretch.
He's higher. I don't know. I like Ward right here.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Ward would be the upset pick. Receivers is the obvious one.
Mm-hmm.
Chip Kelly's probably one of those guys who's so arrogant that he thinks he can work his offense with any receiver. So he might maybe even say, we don't need a good receiver. I can do it with anyone.
Well, he did get rid of Deshaun Jackson for no apparent reason.
Yeah, they gave Deshaun Jackson away for free.
Yep.
Well, their pick's in now, so we don't have to wait much longer.
Surprised San Francisco didn't move up. I figured they'd try to make a move in the first round.
They do need to, because they can't afford to sign everyone they have. So.
Well, they're running back is picked in the first round. No.
What about Bradley Roby from Ohio State here as a corner?
You're not good pick.
That wouldn't be a bad pick. Here we go.
Let's see. Wow!
Wow.
That's
And if you want a plate, keep going.
oh, Eagles fans are pissed.
This is big.
Man, there's going to be some good players left in the second round.
That's about a full round before I expected him to go. So the Eagles really must have liked him.
That's a mistake. You could have got him next round if you really wanted him.
That's a major read.
It'll be interesting tomorrow.
They waited that long. They traded down and everything to draft Marcus Smith.
Doesn't make any
I
sense.
don't understand that.
I honestly think it comes down to Chip Kelly's ego. He thinks that he can do anything with any. He could probably pick me and you two, and he thinks he can win the Super Bowl with us at wide receiver.
You got Johnny Griffin come out with that surgery. That's anything but a guarantee.
All right, Arizona.
I like Kyle Van Noy here for the Cardinals at outside linebacker.
They could always go quarterback here. So Derek Carr is the best player available.
Let's call us hydrated here. Did they come back?
What do you do if you're Arizona? You had a better. They've got quite a good team.
I'd draft Teddy Bridgewater if I'm him.
Teddy? Oh, I wouldn't draft Tom Savage.
Derek Carr happens to be there.
Yeah, they need to draft a quarterback too.
This would be interesting, yeah, if it's Teddy. They look happy.
In other news, Ryan Shazier is going to take Lamar Woodmore at number 56.
It takes a while.
The thing that Arizona needs to think about is, they're probably not going to make the playoffs this year or in the next couple of years, so maybe it's prudent to get a quarterback fit in.
Well, we have to consider that they very well could make the playoffs if Roger Goodell does what he wants to do and expand the playoffs to another.
Yeah.
You know, then 8 and 8 teams will start making it.
For anyone that's interested, San Antonio, Portland 74 to 59 in the third quarter.
Derek Carr seems like the natural fit here. The Cardinals need a quarterback, but the way this first round has gone, who knows?
You know what comes in a while.
All right, the Cardinals picks in.
This will be interesting. Big pick.
With all these players falling, where does the running back go? That's got to push him even farther down the board.
Third round, probably.
I mean, the way this draft's gone, Carlos Hyde could go next.
Yeah. I mean, a running back could go next, or they could go in round 4. It's been crazy.
Very insane.
Oh, come on. Why are you exploiting my hometown team on national television?
Problem there, Patrick?
They got Derek Carr tearing up New Mexico on his highlights here, which is not impressive by any stretch of the imagination, because they're terrible.
You'll be okay. Calm down. No one cares about New Mexico football.
Exactly.
Anytime on the West Coast, I think you gotta go quarterback.
You know,
Keep hitting any better, that's not.
after
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries.
Yes.
after the Eagles pick, I'm not quite as worried about my competition in the NFC East. Not as much anymore. May finally be our year.
Wow.
Why do I feel like I say that every year? Why do I feel like that?
Well,
Buchanan?
that fills a big
safety?
strong safety. They have a good free safety.
Wow.
And Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, but they needed a strong safety.
But their secondary's already good. Why not fill another need first?
That was one of my sleepers to go in the first round.
But why not fill another need first?
They needed strong safety, and he's the top one, they feel, so they went after him.
I still feel they could have. I mean, I guess I'm not gonna argue the pick. It's a good pick. I
Carolina
just feel like they
have
could
already made their pick. They know who they're getting.
Marquise
Well,
Lee?
it looks like
Definitely.
it looks like you'll get to make your announcements sooner than you thought. Finally get to pick yours, the last one of the round.
The fact that Carolina, after decimating their roster in the offseason, can end up with a Marquise Lee is just unbelievable. But then,
Marquise Lee, I will be very shocked.
Watch him draft Derek Carr.
if they drop Derek Carr, I'm done. But Gettleman might still go with the offensive lineman. I don't know. He might believe that they can pick, because the receivers are so deep in this draft, he might believe they can get one in the second and third round and go with Batonio here at left tackle, sorry.
Certainly he's a possibility. He's probably the best offensive lineman left on the board.
Without a doubt. Yeah, well, it's Cam Newton's going to be happy either way here. He's going to get either a Batonio or an elite talent who, going into the season, was a top 10 wide receiver.
Or a backup. Barely backup.
They've already got a backup named Derek.
I'm feeling Carr. Just make it interesting. Let's go ahead.
I don't know. This will be interesting. There's a number of receivers it could be.
Here we go, my Carolina Panthers. It could be Latimer or Kelvin Benjamin.
Could be Ellington. We will see. It's not so rugged anymore.
Interesting. With the 28th pick in the draft, the Carolina Panthers select Kelvin Benjamin out of Florida State.
Solid pickup.
Great.
Solid pickup. Makes a lot of drops, but he's a big target. Exactly what Cam's needed his whole career. He's needed a big target in the end zone. So, good pick by Gettleman. But we see Marquise Lee dropping even further. The poor season this year has really cost him.
What about New England with Marquise Lee?
Yeah.
Does New England really need to get any better?
What about San Fran? Could get Marquise Lee.
Oh God. Let's. Oh God.
No, just
He's got to go. He's got to go within these next 4 picks. What if Seattle gets Marquise Lee?
oh God.
They all need wide receivers. Denver's the only one left that doesn't really need a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's a great pick for Carolina. I like it.
It is a great pick. Yeah, it's what they need.
Yeah. Benjamin's definitely the right pick.
He's going to walk in and be the #1 wide receiver now, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's got to be happy. He's got to be thrilled. He's already the #1 wide receiver. Didn't even have to show up to training camp.
That's huge.
I still wonder how the whole chemistry thing is going to work with Cam Newton if he can't get snaps in training camp.
Yeah.
I think Cam will be all right. I think he's gonna have enough time to recover.
I'm not worried about Cam. I'm worried about his wide receivers, though, the chemistry between the two. That's what I'm worried about.
True.
It's going to be interesting what Belichick drafts here. He can get a Marquise Lee. He could get a Stephon Tuitt.
Yeah, I think
He could get a Coney Ealy.
Yeah, I think they're going defensive end of the ball here. Defensive side of the ball.
He needs a pass rusher. He's got a lot of options here. He could trade out of the first round. Wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Ray Lewis, again, he's talking about Ray Lewis.
He likes to
I
talk about
like
himself.
Jordan Matthews here. I think he'd be a good fit for Tom Brady and the Patriots. They need help at wide receiver. Looking at their depth chart, it's pretty bleak. They could also use a tight end if Gronkowski, they feel, won't ever be Gronkowski again. Austin Seferian-Jenkins could be a possibility.
Yeah, I really think.
I mean, Gronkowski misses like an average of 4 games a season, but he still gets close to breaking a different tight end record every year. So I don't think there's so much as worried about Gronkowski. It's about what are we going to do when he inevitably misses his 4 games a year.
I think there's a lot to worry about Gronkowski. He's had chronic injuries.
Oh, I agree.
Several surgeries to get that right, and then last year he got absolutely destroyed against the Browns and shredded up his knee.
I agree with
In
you.
a row,
There's
he's
an
been
issue
lost
there.
to injuries. And their other tight end, well, we all know where he is.
Don't think we'll talk about that.
Pat's picks in. Let's not talk about what he's doing in jail. I think his. Let's do a quick count. I think he's up to like 8 murders now. At least accused of 8 murders. It's climbing. And then he got in trouble for like some prison violence or something the other day, or like assault in the prison or whatever. Yeah. I almost considered buying a Hernandez jersey like it was on sale. And I saw it in the store. I was like, huh, I like Aaron Hernandez. I'm going to buy it. Then I was like, no, maybe I shouldn't. And then I'm kind of glad I didn't know. It's kind of, yeah.
Wikipedia's already been updated with Kelvin Benjamin as a Carolina Panther.
I'm sure the team had that.
They work very quickly.
Like, I'm sure the teams were like all the teams like, yeah, we're gonna get that now. Wikipedia is the most important thing in the world.
I know San Francisco wants a receiver. They'll get a good one.
Yeah, no matter what New England picks, they'll get a good one.
I think Denver's got to go defense.
Oh, well, I don't know if they necessarily have to go defense. They made a few good off-season acquisitions, but that might be the right choice. They could go offensive line here or something like that. Did anyone just notice on Mel's best running back? He didn't have. Where's Trey Mason at on his best running back list?
No, it's got to be Carlos.
Four.
Carlos is the best running back, I think.
But he didn't even have Trey in the top 4.
Bit worried that, yeah.
Isn't it? I don't know.
I'd imagine New England's going to come to the podium here pretty quick.
They need to start wrapping this up, so I would imagine.
I think surely it's going to be a Stephon Tuitt or a Coney Ely or someone Knicks in that type of player.
Those stats, he better go defense. God, that's bad.
Has anyone thought about
3 categories?
Peyton Manning getting another weapon in Marquise Lee?
I don't know. I'd go defense because they got Emmanuel Sanders. I think defense is the bigger need.
Yeah, they should go defense, definitely.
Maybe later in the draft they can get another weapon because there's a deep wide receiver draft.
Surely you'd think maybe Houston don't rate any of the quarterbacks. They should look to move in now. Get that 5th-year option.
It's not a bad idea.
So we're so used to them moving up or down out of this. I can't believe they're making a pick right where they belong. So
yeah.
pick is in.
Over. Come on, Goodell. Someone's got to go to bed. I'm tired.
This pick's going to get booed.
I like Lewis Nick.
He's still getting booed. Like, we're at the 29th pick, and he's still getting booed every time he walks out there.
Wow.
Oh, don't know. Whoa. That's. I can't really doubt it. Belichick knows what he's doing. If any other coach had made that, I'd have questioned it.
Belichick always loves to shock everyone, doesn't he, with every pick?
I'm convinced he does it on purpose.
Coming back, yeah, good. It is Belichick, but you've got Nix, Ely, and Tuitt on the board.
A lot
And
of people
Lewis.
think Easley is a first-round talent. He's had 2 knee injuries. Apparently, Belichick was one who thought he was a first-round talent. Likes him over players like Hageman and Tuitt, and
Well,
we shall see.
but Jerry Jones said if he were available in the 2nd round, they would take him. But obviously, Belichick saw what he liked, so that didn't happen.
San Fran's already down under 5 minutes. That was quick.
Yeah.
Well, they took forever to announce the Patriots pick.
Yeah.
Before this, I have to take Bradley Roby.
Yeah, I think Bradley Roby's got to go somewhere, you think?
Yeah, I like a cornerback here.
I just think there's no sense for that.
Maybe Denver need a corner.
I think John Harbaugh likes explosive offenses, and he's finally wanting to get that threat Colin Kaepernick to throw to help out Anquan Bolt and Michael Crabtree. So I'm gonna go either Lee or Matthews here.
Vince Wilfork loves the pick over Easley.
Okay, well, you're on this pile over here. You like football? You're on that pile over there. You know, they're not alone. It's almost question number 1, 2, and 3 with that.
It's gotta be pretty interesting as a player on an NFL team sitting there watching new guys get at it.
Ahead of Houston to get in a quarterback spot, or Teddy Bridgewater, their car.
Huh. Who's the 49ers backup? Because Colt's not there anymore.
Blaine Gabbett.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Ouch.
Steven Tua would be a pick here for defensive end.
They like these commercials after the pick comes in, don't they?
They do now. They're really extending it.
But they're running out of time because they were supposed to end this at 11:30, and I'd really like to go to bed.
Man, it's late where you guys are at. It's 9:30 with me.
I'm in the East Coast.
First round,
I mean, one of us are
8 hours. This is a walk in the park.
Yeah. Like, one of us is just starting his day, though, so I suppose he's not upset.
That's me, 11:30. I'm up in the morning.
I've always wanted to go to Australia. I don't know why.
You're halfway
I like
around the
kangaroos.
world from us, because it's 11:30 here in the Eastern time zone.
Yeah.
I like kangaroos. I've always wanted to go to Australia.
No, that's really
Koala
cool.
bears
You
are pretty
join
cool,
us,
too.
so that was really cool.
Well, the 49ers pick is in. Now that the entire world that's watching this knows that I like kangaroos and koala bears.
The 49ers, they are taking this time.
Cool. Like, the pick's in. Let's end this commercial and go back to the draft. Eric Reed was a really good pickup last year for the 49ers. That's who the Cowboys should have drafted
Man,
instead of trading.
Denver and Seattle's picks are going to be in by the time this thing's announced.
Uh-huh.
The
I'm sure
49ers
Denver and Seattle both know who they want.
This season is going to be awesome. I'm going to be best friends with that guy and that guy. We're going to work so
I swear they delay this crap on purpose. Like, they tell the teams, hold off on your pick real quick. We want to show more commercials.
Well, they got to get these advertisers in, make their money.
Doing the same commercials like 20 times.
I feel like if we should be allowed to, like, every NFL fan should be allowed to chip in $5 to, like, get rid of the commercials. I'd do it.
I think 10
Derek
minutes
Carr
is
is
too
not
long
the
to
best
pick,
player
too.
in the time.
I
Sorry.
think they need to cut down the amount of time they have to pick.
The first round, you really, like, I know that you're trying to make a trade or whatever, but 10 minutes is kind of ridiculous for the first round. Trim it to 7.
Yeah.
If you're not going to get a trade in 7 minutes, then you're not going to get a trade. I mean,
Well, it used to be 15.
you're right.
Ah,
Could
that
be
number
worse.
19.
I mean, Juwan James has come on the screen.
Luckily enough, I have nothing to do at school tomorrow because I took my AP exam yesterday, and our teacher said, or today, AP Lit, and my teacher said we were going to watch a movie. So, sleep. I do have to drive though, so maybe it's
Could try and get her a
best
place
idea.
with Alvin Smith, too.
That's true.
With the 30th pick, the 2014 NFL Draft,
It's gonna be shocking.
San Francisco 49ers select Jimmy Ward.
Oh, Jimmy Ward.
Excellent
But
pick.
You cried.
That's your man, James.
I like Jimmy. I like Jimmy Ward, but I just don't see the fit there.
I don't either.
Play him at corner.
Maybe.
Yeah, plays college writers.
But they did
They
sign
have Eric Reed and
Antoine Bethea. They did draft Eric Reed. Jimmy Ward would be a luxury pick.
I mean, he's a good replacement.
You don't need a luxury pick in the first round, though. You draft what you need in the first round. I don't care how many draft picks you got.
Jimmy Ward's a great player. He fits in anywhere. He makes their defense.
I agree he's a great player. But you have to pick a starter now, and the guys that's not starting, it's kind of wasted talent unless the other guy gets hurt.
He'll probably move over to cornerback and play there.
Most of the time, defenses are in nickels nowadays anyways. So if
that's
they
true.
put Ward on the field as a fifth defensive back, you could do a lot worse than that.
Yeah, Shamarko Thomas plays both safety and cornerback for the Steelers.
That's okay. I see the. I still. Why is Marcus Lee falling? Like I don't.
I think it's his. First of all, his size and the production this year. He made a lot of easy drops.
Yeah, his 40 time wasn't very special either. He had a 40 time.
That's true.
Marcus Lee.
Still, I wasn't expecting. I was definitely not expecting him to drop this low.
People were talking about Marquise Lee and Teddy Bridgewater as top 10 selections last year, and now look at them.
Yeah, they're likely out.
I feel like Denard fell, Lee fell, Bridgewater fell. All these guys were projected to go in the top 10 this year, or at least close to the top 10 in the beginning of this, and then they plummeted. But we have 2 picks in the first round by the Eagles and the Dolphins that had no business anywhere near being in the first round. So, and you could argue the Jaguars at 3 didn't deserve to be in the first round, but
exactly, the Jaguars at 3.
So this second round is going to be really interesting tomorrow.
Yeah, it is.
I think the reason they go into so many ads is like us. There's not much to talk about in these last picks.
Still, let's get it over with. I mean, come on. Please tell me, Denver, if you're gonna trade it, just trade it already. Could a team be like wanting to trade like in these last 2 picks to try to go ahead and get their quarterback tonight? Like you said, to get that 5th-year option.
I think Houston need to. If they like Bridgewater or Carr. Maybe they've got their eyes.
There was talk that Bill O'Brien really, really liked Jimmy Garoppolo, and at his pro day or at the combine, he took him aside to speak to him one-on-one.
Because the Broncos still haven't made a decision yet, and now they have. Their pick is in now. So much for that. Seattle can still trade their pick though, and if Seattle decides to trade to Houston, then it's only 1 spot, so Houston might not have to offer quite as much as another team a little later in the second round would have to offer. You still have to offer a decent amount because it's switching an entire round and you lose that 5th-year option. But
yeah, exactly.
Still, it's not quite as much than, like, say, the Jaguars would have to make it 9. Houston is at 33 instead of 30. Like,
you gotta be pretty happy if you're Houston though, because I mean you got Bridgewater sitting there, among other guys.
That's true. That is true. So Houston really doesn't need to trade up at all. They just make their pick next and if they want to take a quarterback, they take Bridgewater. They take.
We're back in New York with the Denver Broncos on the clock. An unbelievable season for Peyton Manning. He set every record in the book. It all didn't go well.
All right, then. The Broncos lost a lot more than I thought they did. So their defense actually looks a little worse. That DeMarcus Ware, that hurts. That really hurts. Didn't Woodyard go to the Like DeMarcus word hurts. It really hurts. I hate seeing that. I hate the Broncos and DeMarcus words everywhere in that ugly orange. I don't want to have to suffer through that next year.
Here we go. Yeah.
There comes Goodell.
It's about time. Could you walk any slower? I mean, do we need to get you a cane?
There we go.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's an outstanding pick.
Full draft.
I don't know. That's the I don't see him as a first rounder, but
They needed help on that
they do
second
need
that
a quarterback.
secondary.
Yeah, so it's kind of a stretch, but I can see it. He's definitely not going to be there by the time they pick again. So I
When
guess
Doug
it's a solid
Baldwin is
pick.
breaking 4 tackles to score touchdowns in the Super Bowl, they needed to take someone in the secondary. Roby is about as good as they can get at this point in the draft.
Yeah.
I loved that Super Bowl. I love that Super Bowl so much. It's my favorite Super Bowl of all time.
So, does Pete Carroll take the former USC Trojan Marquise Lee to give Wilson another weapon?
They should.
Seattle.
I would.
You should.
He's fell this far. He doesn't deserve to go to the second round. I'd take him right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like offensive line is a much bigger need.
The left tackle is solid.
Which-
Russell Okung. Who would you take as an offensive lineman for the Seahawks?
Morgan Moses.
That's
Morgan Moses.
that's Moses. I can see Moses.
There's a lot of good tackles left. Oh, solid. Bradley Roby.
They could use
I
Brady,
swear I'm gonna be.
but I guess when you're at the end of the first round, if you draft a right tackle, it's a lot better than when you take one, say, in the top 20, like the Dolphins. Or
So much. It's nowhere near as bad of a stretch.
And Washington gets to pick tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dang, more wasted talent.
They don't need a receiver. There is some serious talent left in this draft. Ellington, Matthews, Batonio, wow.
It's really sad. Like, there's players on this board that deserve to be drafted already. Like, there's no way some of these guys deserve to be down where they're at.
Oh,
They got-
When's the first guard gonna pop up? Like,
Well,
I can't think of who the top guard is.
I was looking at that. I don't know if Seattle would go for a guard right here, but they could. Maybe Xavier
I just don't know who.
from UCLA. He could be in play.
I mean,
yeah. I like that guard out of UCLA. I think he'd be a good pick here.
yeah. Seattle really, they can't go too terribly wrong.
For a very long time. Keep in mind, they get Percy Harvin back next year for the full season.
That's true.
If he stays healthy.
Until he gets hurt again.
If he stays healthy. Whenever he's on the field, he's a monster.
Oh, we've got a trade.
Oh,
Say what?
The
the
Minnesota
Vikings.
No, we don't.
have traded back into the first round.
Vikings.
Who?
Is this where Bridgewater goes?
wow.
Derek.
Uh-oh.
Derek Carr.
Didn't the Vikings do this
Ignore
last year? Didn't the,
Minnesota. See you later, Christian
the
Ponder.
Vikings...
Oh, wow.
The Vikings did this last year and it didn't work. I mean, you think they'd learn their lesson?
I think it's Bridgewater.
Never underestimate the stupidity of Rick Spielman, their GM.
You got a point. You have a point, James.
This is really interesting.
This is,
My
yeah.
friend,
this-
I've got a friend. I've got a friend named Justin. He's a big Vikings fan. He goes to my school. And if this isn't the right pick, he's gonna be so mad.
It's interesting. I suppose that fifth-year option is what they were looking at.
That's probably.
If it's a
And
quarterback,
they're probably scared that
yeah.
Houston.
they're probably scared Houston's gonna snag whoever they want.
Must be Bridgewater then. Because I haven't heard any.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think Bridgewater is the better bet.
Daly was not expecting a
I
trade.
mean, I don't see why Derek Carr is rated above Bridgewater on Kipper's thing. Bridgewater by far to me is the better quarterback.
Yeah, I think Bridgewater's he's the best quarterback right now. I think Bortles will be the best quarterback when it's all said and done.
Where's Johnny Manziel gonna rank on your list, Patrick?
I think he'd be anywhere from number 1 to like number 30. It's the Jamarcus Russell effect.
The pick
Wow.
was in second round and fourth round.
That's good for Seattle.
Seattle
Yeah,
dropped 8
that's-
spots, picked up the 108th pick. I like that in this draft.
Yeah, I like that for
As
Seattle.
long
They
as,
only had 6 picks, so they could get another pick.
I think this is a good trade if we assume that the Vikings draft a quarterback. If they draft anything other than a quarterback, then that was probably the wrong move.
Yeah, because then they're not picking to the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that Jimmy Garoppolo goes here?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because, as I said, Bill O'Brien liked him, and maybe Minnesota like him.
But according to Mel Kiper, Tom Savage is the 3rd best quarterback available.
I just gotta.
And then AJ McCarron's 4th. Like, I don't even know where.
Well,
I
you
don't
have
even
to
know
look
what he's
at this
doing.
trade as Minnesota getting in front of Houston to get a quarterback of their choice. So, yeah, I'd be shocked if it wasn't the quarterback here.
Well,
I
there it
It
is.
has to be. I mean,
I just got a text message.
the
from my
trade's worthless if it's not.
Oh, hang on.
Final pick is
Mhm.
There he is.
That's
There you
the
go.
pick they have to make. They need a quarterback. Kind of did not work out for them.
you could see the Vikings contend in the NFC North this year. They have a quarterback that can at
Teddy
least contend.
Bridgewater, not a bad pick, value pick.
As much as I
Got to
hate
work
it,
on his deep ball, but
Now, who does Houston pick at quarterback?
the NFC North's going to be
They-
scary.
I think Garoppolo in the
Houston's-
3rd round. I think that's where Houston are going.
I think Houston picks Jimmy very next pick tomorrow. Because, you know, Eastern Illinois, last time a quarterback came out of there, he did pretty well. You know, I like Eastern Illinois quarterback.
You reckon Garoppolo 2nd? Yeah,
I like this.
I don't
I
know,
like
man.
those
They're
quarterbacks
definitely
out of Eastern
small
Illinois.
school quarterbacks. You don't know if they got the level of competition to keep up.
Well, I mean, the last one to come out of that school did pretty well.
Those are few and far between, though. You can't count on that.
You got a point. I was making a Romo reference. I had to fit it in there one more time tonight.
I just
There's one issue for me here with Teddy. Is he got the cold weather in Minnesota and Teddy and the glove situation and he's struggling with the deep ball? Will it work?
Never know.
They play a dome though, or their new stadium.
That's
gets
fine
hit
now.
down. Yeah, you got.
Okay. Thanks for that, guys. I think I'm gonna have to head off.
All right, guys.
If
Hey,
I
let me
could,
end the show real quick, and then I'll.
I
Let
just
me end the
got,
show real quick. I'll stop the broadcasting, and we can exit off. But let Patrick say whatever he wanted to say.
I just got a text message from my sister, and my brother-in-law, her husband, just got out of the army a couple of years ago, so they know a lot of people that are in the military, and she told me that there's a few guys that are deployed overseas to Afghanistan that are watching us tonight, so I just wanted to thank them for their service and let them know we appreciate what they do.
Yeah.
We certainly do appreciate them. And that's all we have for tonight. Please check us out at prosportsextra.com on Twitter. Go to www.prosportsextra.com, and thank you.